help if I wasn't muted. Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Thank goodness you couldn't hear me because I was sounding like an absolute idiot for a second there because I was trying to describe what a mug is as if nobody knows. No, it was all me. I don't know why my mic was muted. Usually it auto unmutes me when the countdown is done. Okay, anyways, I'm awake. This miming is great though. Oh my god, hold on, this comments. Because I love the cup. Oh my god. D loves Terry, you seem to be having a really lovely time. This is how you know I love doing YouTube because I can just talk, nobody can hear me, and I'm over here having a great time. That's hilarious. I'm dying right now. Okay, so anyways, what I was saying was I hope everybody has something nice to drink, and I was bragging about this beautiful gift I just got in because I was so excited about it. Okay, it actually looks like does it actually kind of change color? The screen makes it look like it changes kind of color. It's literally glittery. This camera doesn't do it justice. It's glittery and rainbow. And I was really excited about it because it is one of those super fancy insulated mugs. A friend just sent this to me as a surprise. It was so sweet. So it's basically it's got a super fancy lid so that you can't spill it, which is the only way I do the only way I should do coffee, honestly, but it's the only way I do like big drinks like water because I am a klutz. But I am notorious for getting myself a nice hot fresh cup of coffee for a stream and then letting it get cold. And anybody who's in the Unicorn fam knows I'll do my like member readings and I'm on for like 2.5, 3 hours and I'm just finishing my coffee. Like it's ice cold by the end because I'm notorious for just getting coffee and forgetting about it. So anyways, this is really exciting to me right now because I now have a really pretty fancy like mug shaped one because I have these like kind of beat up travel ones that I use for work, but I don't want to use those at home. So anyways, short story long because I'm really excited about this and it's my aesthetic. It's like rainbow glitter. Like I wish you guys could see the shine, the sparkles. There's sparkles. It's so sparkly. Anyway, I'm really excited about it. My top is from you guys. So Peggy basically treated me to a whole new wardrobe, kind of. Like I haven't shopped like that in a long time. I'll be talking about it more in my show and tell, but I've been wearing the same clothes for like 7, 8, 9 years. Like I very rarely buy clothes. I'm not a clothes person. So you're going to see a whole lot of this shirt in different patterns because it's my favorite thing. I love the shape of it and I love sleeveless and anyways, it's a whole thing. So now I have new clothes. So you won't see me in the same thing all the time. Yeah, Barb, it is a brewmate. How did you know? How did you know that? Oh, it says it. It does say brewmate right there. So I'm super stoked about it. And I apparently I can't spill it. I'm not gonna like tip it over my computer, but it's got like a fancy y'all. It took me like 5 whole minutes and looking up a YouTube video to figure out how to open it though, because it comes locked. Did I not finish saying where my shirt was from? I'm sorry. I'm very squirrely and distracted this morning. Me always. Reitman's. It's from a shop called Reitman's. I shopped like their entire sale section because I still can't bring myself to pay full price for clothing. But yeah, Peggy treated me to a bunch of new clothes. She wasn't there with me because that would have like been torture for her, but she sent me with a budget. I went shopping. It was great. Oh, Rebecca, that's amazing. Where did you guys go? Okay, anyways, I'm just like so squirrely, but I want to know all the things. Thank you, Janice. Anyways, I was excited I got new clothes because yeah, I've literally been wearing my other clothes out. Like most of them are falling apart. It's bad. Bad. Peggy's like, please stop wearing rags. We don't need to. I'm like, okay, I guess I'll get new clothes. Fine. So welcome, by the way, especially if you're new here, welcome. I'm Lisa. Hi. If you don't know that, let's see my channel names. I mean, like, there's that. But welcome. This is Troubleshooting the Tarot. I have some relevant links for you in the description box because this series of live streams came about because I did my Tarot with Training Wheels series, which was meant to help teach people who are brand spanking new to tarot, just a basic kind of jumping off point for learning how to read the cards. And I'm starting to introduce more and more educational content into the channel because I want people to feel confident pulling cards for themselves or for friends and family or whatever it is they're going to do. And this is really fulfilling content for me to make. So I did the Tarot with Training Wheels course. And during that, I would have these live stream check-ins where I would help people kind of, with any sticking points they might have. And so it was a really, really fun thing. And I realized I wanted to keep doing those. But Tarot with Training Wheels as a course, it still exists. You can still go watch it. It's there forever. But I wanted to have a more open Q&A series for people who just want to talk about where they're getting stuck, talk about card comparisons, like what's the deal with this card versus this card, talk about like, you know, different aspects of it. So this series was born from that. And the other series that was born from that is my Learn to Read Tarot with Me series, which has changed names a couple times. That's its current name, I'm pretty sure. I just want people to know what it is. But the Learn to Read Tarot with Me series, I'm doing those about once a month. That's a video where I take you with me while we break down a spread together and we do several sample readings. So that's what that series is. I don't remember if I have that linked down below, but I do have Tarot with Training Wheels linked down below. Always my recommendation for where you start if you just want something simple to kind of just like get into it. You know what I mean? Hi, Adelina. Hello. So today the goal is any questions you guys have, we can help each other. I'm happy to answer where I can, give my perspective. And I always like to pick a deck to bring with me. So actually, give me 1 second here. And I love to feature beginner-friendly decks also when I'm doing these. Oops, let me go back. I want to make sure I grab this for you guys so you can access it if you need to. So I'm going to stick it in the chat, and then I'm also going to stick it in the description box. Hold on. Let me make sure this is not going to do anything weird. Hold please. 1 moment. And yes, please, if you have a moment and you enjoy my content, definitely smash that like button. It seems like such a silly little thing, but the YouTube algorithm like really likes that. It really helps support the channel. It does more than you realize. So I'm going to have a link here to this deck. Today's deck. Okay. I've just updated the description, so if you refresh, it will be there, and I'm going to pop it into the chat as well. Today's deck. Okay. So today's deck is the Anna K Tarot. So I've put it into order so we can pull out specific cards and talk about them. So if there are cards that are sticking points, if there are cards you get confused with one another, if there's a particular like section in the court card, like it doesn't matter. Whatever question, throw them out there. I found a new feature in my streaming platform that lets me kind of save those so I can keep track of y'all's questions. So I'm going to start scrolling through in case anybody's already asked any, and keep track of those. And we're just going to jump into it. And yeah, this is pretty casual. So anything goes tarot wise, just throw it out there. And yeah, oh my God, the audio thing was epic. I'm sorry. I'm still seeing comments about that. That's hilarious. Oh, Ivy's Grove is drinking a limited edition Coca-Cola called Starlight. I've heard about this. What the heck does it taste like? I don't think I've seen it in Canada, but I've heard about it. Super curious. My mug does look like a rainbow sherbet melt. I love it. It is a unicorn mug. I'm so happy about it. I'm such a dork. Okay, anyway. And let's see. Okay. Sorry, the comments are epic. You guys are amazing. I just got to start finding I know I saw at least a couple. Is squirrely? I've got to address. Anastasia says, is squirrely an actual expression? I've been called a squirrel because of my small attention span. I think it's made up, but like I've heard it a lot. Like I don't think it got made up over here or anything. Like I've been using the term for a long time, but I'm sure I heard it somewhere. Yep. I'm so glad you guys have found the educational stuff helpful. That really, I love making videos. I love talking to you guys on this platform. And I want to make sure that what I do here always brings some kind of like value. That's the thing. I don't want it to just be, I don't mind making just regular entertaining content, but I always want it to be valuable in some way. And I kind of think about that with every piece of content that I make. Anyways, I'm still scrolling. You guys are amazing. Okay. So I found one here and yep, there's another one. Thanks, guys. Yes, boot camp is fun. And the boot camp deck is great for this series too. I've got another idea in my head, back in my head for boot camp, but I can't talk about that yet. It's a secret. Okay. Yes, you guys are throwing out some good questions. Okay, what do you recommend to help us with learning our cards? So let me throw this question up first. So can you clarify what you mean? Because I want to get to the heart of your question. So it's pretty open-ended. Do you mean like just to start out from scratch? Let me know what you mean by that. Lid Klein. Let me know what you mean and we'll address that for sure. Yes, got king versus emperor. Okay, we got a bunch of these. Yes, let's talk about the knights. Yes, we got a bunch of good questions. 2 and 3 of wands. Yeah, 2 and 3 of wands is a good one. And I don't care, you guys, just so you know, if we've covered it in a previous live, it's totally fine. I don't mind repeating because people are finding these all the time. Yes, so many good ones. Aw, that's awesome, Crimson Moon, making tarot bags and reading cloths. That's awesome. Yes, sewing is fun. Sewing is fun. I don't do it, obviously, as much as Peggy. Oh, thank you. I'm glad you find this valuable. Yeah, I really like this because it's an open conversation and we can kind of just help each other. Oh my God, so many questions. So this is awesome. You and your tarot videos are my boyfriend's newest obsession. I'm kind of jealous. Tell him I said hi. That's awesome. Okay, Hangman versus Hermit. Okay, I've got a bunch. I'm going to pause for a second, get myself situated here. Oh, okay, so Lid Klein, I'm just wondering because I'm having a harder time learning the meaning. So there is a link in the description box. You might have just popped in. There's a link in the description box that talks about tarot with training wheels. So I have an entire playlist. It's 10 lessons. Each lesson is really short. Well, I shouldn't say that. Each lesson is like half an hour to 45 minutes. It's not really short. What am I saying? Some of the lessons are short, like the intro ones, but you can probably do the entire thing in a few hours. And it takes you through the entire tarot and teaches you basically how to come up with a single keyword. I give you mine if you want to just use mine, but you can also play with it and see what keyword makes sense to you. Kind of teaches you to come up with your own and write or somehow notate that single keyword on every single card. And then you work with that deck until you get comfortable with the meanings. So if you're interested in that, I do have that linked down below. So you can go through that and it will teach you kind of a starting place. So that's the main thing I recommend. And then that and getting a really good general tarot book. I haven't read it, but I've heard good things about WTF is Tarot. And my favorite is Kitchen Table Tarot by Melissa Sinova. So yeah, okay. I've got to get my other chat thingy open because I can't see all of the comments. So one moment, please. And I will do that. And then we'll be good to go. I know it always takes me a minute to get settled. Thank you guys so much for bearing with me because it's a whole thing. Okay, 1 second. Oops. Okay. I think I'm good now. We shall see. Ooh. Oh, I want to save these. Oh my gosh. Okay, we're going to start jumping in because otherwise we're not going to get started. Okay. So many good ones though. Okay. I don't want to lose these. Okay. So many good questions. Okay, we're going to just start from behind a little bit. Oh, thank you for linking WTF is Tarot, Barb. You're amazing. So the reason I picked the Anna K Tarot is because the characters in this deck are they have really great facial expressions. So they're really wonderful. And the cards are depicted really, really well. So let's talk about the first one. So Holtz says, I'd like to go over the difference between the Lovers and the Two of Cups because the deck I'm looking to buy has confused me. Okay, let's talk about it. So the Lovers card from the Major Arcana and the Two of Cups, we're going to show the two cards from this particular deck and talk about it. So in this deck, this is cool. Okay, so in this deck, here is our Lovers card. Shows an older couple. One of the things I love about this deck is there's a little more age diversity. Love that. And then here is the Two of Cups. Now, there's a couple things, let's say, for the sake of the conversation, that because there's a few different ways we can look at the Lovers card, and we'll talk about this. But let's say for the sake of this initial discussion, we're going to branch off. But for the start, let's say that the Lovers card is about romantic love. There's more to it than that, but let's say that's what it's about. In this deck, you can see the difference visually. This is a couple that are like committed to one another over a long period of time. This shows two people probably in the beginning of romance, right? They've connected, they care about one another, they maybe even have a relationship, but they're young, the relationship is young. The lovers is going to be a more developed energy. So that's one way to look at these two cards. You'll hear a lot of us talk about the fact that the lovers card isn't always or even often about love. In fact, in a weird way, I often see the Two of Cups the way before I knew about tarot, I would have imagined the Lover's card to be. Does that make any sense? So the Two of Cups to me is the real romance question for me, or romance card, no question, romance card for me in the tarot. It's this one. The Lover's card is to me more about commitment and choice. So in fact, there's a deck that I'm looking at that I'm tempted by called the Intuitive Night Goddess Tarot. And in that major arcana card, they don't even show a couple or anything romantic in the card at all. They show one figure and two paths, and they call it crossroad, I think. So here's the interesting thing. In traditional or historical decks, you would actually see three figures on the tarot. You'd see one male figure and two female figures. And in those historical decks, the main figure was actually trying to choose which partner he was going to partner with. He was going to choose either the very, how do I put it? He was going to either marry for love or for like love, passion, excitement, beauty, or for stability, for political alliance, for like the person that maybe was going to be the more, the good mother. So it was like those traditional decks kind of show these two figures, one of whom you kind of feel like there's a little bit more lusty or passionate kind of connection with, and the other that's more chaste, or maybe there's another reason to choose that path. And the whole point of that card is that you've reached a point in your life where you need to pick one of these two paths, and whichever one you pick, you're going to commit to for, like, it's going to change your life over the long term. So it's a really important choice. It's usually a choice that's going to affect your life path over time. That's what we see in historical decks. We lose some of that in modern decks, more modern decks, because we have usually a figure, like two figures with an angel over top, and like say the Rider-Waite-Smith version of the card. And so you kind of miss that a little bit. And so we get a different angle. Now that's my personal take on it. People will have different interpretations for the lovers, but this is one of the reasons why we see so many references to the lovers being called the choice card. Because really what it's more about is what are you going to commit to? Which path are you going to take? And what's that going to look like for you? You can look at that through the context of romantic love, because when you marry somebody or you commit to somebody for life for some reason, you are making a decision that is going to, ideally, it's going to be a forever decision, right? If it's a good match, it's going to be permanent. And that's the kind of thing that changes the entire shape and flavor of your life over a long period of time. So that's something to kind of think of when you think about this card. With the Two of Cups, what we're really seeing, it's early in the suit of emotions, which numerologically, that two tells us that these two people have just come together. So there's a connection. There might be a really healthy connection. It might be a really strong connection, but it's going to be an initial connection that is really, it's feeling good. It's feeling balanced. It's feeling exciting, but it's still early, right? And that's the thing to remember about this card. Toadstool Tarot just asked a really good question. Can you read the Lovers or the Two of Cups as partnerships that aren't romantic? Absolutely. My opinion is that when you see Two of Cups, there's feelings involved. Doesn't have to be romantic feelings. Could be you really trust this person. Could be that you're feeling really drawn to this person. If this is in business, for example, then a Two of Cups to me speaks to a harmonious partnership, for example, in business. It could mean that you really get along super well with your coworkers. You feel like a harmonious connection with your coworkers or with your team. Same thing with the Lovers. The Lovers in a business setting, for example, could be you're being asked to commit to a new role, for example. And that role will put you in an environment where who you're working with will be a part of the equation. So for example, if you're taking a promotion, who's your new boss going to be? And this Lovers card could be indicating you're going to really want to think about who you're connecting to in this new role and how that's going to impact your life over the long term. Does that make sense? So you can totally look at these cards platonically, familially, businessy. You can look at them a number of ways. I'm just marking questions as I see them. If I miss your question, you may have to repeat it. I'm going to try to go through them in order. I've been marking them as we go, now that I know how to do that. Okay, so Green-Eyed Tarot. Lovers being a major arcana could also be seen as more life-changing and impactful. Absolutely. Two of Cups could be more superficial and more like a day-to-day partnership. Super true. And in this deck, it's really interesting. What I love is that you see this progression of time, right? One can be more fleeting, exactly, and one can be more lasting. And so I'm not saying you can't read the Lover's card as a romantic love card. You can. That's absolutely valid. I'm just sharing that for me, it has over the years evolved to be much more of a choice card, a commitment card than a romantic love card. It still has an impact. If I'm doing a romance reading and the Lovers comes up, I'm going to be looking at it through that lens regardless. So there's that. Yeah, Leanna says, I once read the Lover's card as my mom and her associate in a business read. Absolutely. Oh, the Two of Cups. Sorry. Same though. But yeah, I know what you mean. And yeah, feel free to pop in and out as you like, guys. It's all good. Hi, Dustin. So yeah, that is my take on those two cards. So let me unstar. So the next one I have on my list here is I'm still having some issues. Here's Ashley. Oh, let me bring this up. I'm still having some issues with the court cards and the differences between the aces. So why don't we'll tackle the aces first. And then if you want to clarify what your question is about specifically about the courts, we can start to look at that. Maybe think about what it is that you, I have so much to say about the aces, so we're going to do that. But think about the court card question, and then we can come back to that for sure, because court cards are always really tricky for people, myself included. By the way, I'm not excluding myself. I really struggled with them for a long time. So let's talk about the aces. Now, you said the differences between the aces, which is really interesting. So the way that I like to look at the tarot, it helps simplify it for me, is that I first look at the element and my association with that element. So Pentacles, I'm just going to separate these into their piles here so that I can show them easily. So I've got majors, rods. This is rods in this deck. Swords, rods or wands, same. Cups and pentacles. So my favorite way to think of the aces, I don't necessarily see them as part. This is going to sound really confusing, so just come with me along on the ride for a minute. I don't necessarily see the aces as part of their suit anymore. I think I did at one point for sure. Now I see them kind of as the seed of their suit. So let me explain what I mean by that. And let me grab Toadstool's comment in a little bit here. What about pages versus aces as beginners for that element? Ooh, that's a good relevant question to this comment. Okay, so I like to see the aces as the seed of their suit. And my favorite way to describe this is a snow globe or a seed. It depends on how your brain works. I'm very visual. So a lot of my examples and my metaphors are going to be visual because that's how my brain and my intuition work. So for me, I like to see the aces as the seed. So if you think of an oak tree, if you think of an acorn is a seed to the oak tree, right? So within the acorn is everything that will eventually become the oak tree, including future acorns. I know it's like this big, huge concept. It's hard to simplify the aces sometimes because they, in my opinion, they are the pure potential of their suit. That means that the ace contains the 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and all the courts. It's all in there. It's all in there. So to me, it's potential. It's the pure potential of that suit. So you start with, in my opinion, you start with the idea. I want to make sure I save questions when I see them. You start with the idea. So here's the Ace of Wands or Ace of Rods in this suit here. And I love the aces in this deck, by the way, because they really visually kind of, to me, show the energy of the suit. So the Ace of Wands shows a girl crossing over on her single wand. She's crossing this vast chasm. It's almost got a Fool-like energy to it. To me, the wand suit is about, wands and fire, to me, are associated with passion, creativity, the thing that drives us to take action in our lives, impetus. There's a lot of great keywords for fire, for wands. But what's important to me when I'm talking to people about this is that you build your own associations. This is what I do in Tarot Bootcamp, right? Build your own associations. What does fire make you think of? And then build your understanding. This is my advice. Build your understanding of that suit around your association with that energy. So for me, fire is creativity, inspiration, etc. So if I assume that the ace is the potential of anything related to fire, passion, creativity, excitement, adventure, anything that makes me think of fire, and I look at this ace, I'm like, she's embarking on some kind of an adventure. She's like curious, she's exploring, she's doing all these different things. She's open to whatever could come. To me, the Ace of Wands then is some sort of pure inspiration or something's kind of, you have a feeling you want to do a thing. Like This to me is that moment when you realize that there's something you want to try, want to do. When I first created my channel, that was an Ace of Wands moment. I had the idea, right? That moment when I was like, oh, I think I want to do a YouTube channel. That first moment where I thought about it, where it came to me, that initial inspiration or impetus or urge, to me, that's the Ace of Wands, right? So all of the aces are like that to me, and each represents an opportunity to explore the energy of that suit and what it could potentially contain. So you can have an ace moment and never proceed to a 2, 3, or 4. I could have had the feeling, I want to start a YouTube channel. And then it could have fizzled, because that happens, right? Same thing with, let's look at the pentacles, which is a lot more grounded. So earthy suit for me is about anything material, anything around resources and physical energy, anything that can manifest that you could hold in your hand, that sort of thing. So for me, an Ace of Pentacles is a initial opportunity for something material, for something tangible. So it's very loose. These are very open kind of energies because they're not concrete yet. They haven't solidified yet. They're kind of, this is why in the Rider-Waite-Smith system, you see this like spiritual hand kind of thing, holding like the hand of God or something, holding this element, because it's intangible right now. Even in the Pentacles, it's kind of intangible. It's like there might be an opportunity coming to earn a little extra money, or there might be, oh, thanks, Exploring Tarot. There might be something on the horizon. There might be something right in front of you where you know that there could be an opportunity for a raise, or for a side gig, or for, I don't know. Do you know what I mean? Like I don't know how good I'm doing at transitioning from wands to pentacles in this point, but to me, I like to use the word opportunity for pentacles, because often there's something there that you could potentially pursue that could become something tangible for you. But again, I see it like this snow globe. I never got to the snow globe analogy. So much like the acorn contains everything that could eventually become the oak tree, if that's difficult to visualize or imagine, then one of the things I like to do is think of the seed as being the snow globe that when you look inside has everything of that suit inside of it. Does that make sense? So like, it's a way to look at the entire energy of the suit. And I want to, before we jump off the aces here, address, let me unstar this briefly, and I want to go down to the bottom, okay? Because Toadstool asked a relevant question to this. What about pages versus aces as beginners for that element? So, and again, please keep in mind, everything I share is just my take on it, my opinions. I think it's really important when you're learning the tarot to not take on somebody else's opinions just because they sound right. Like, make sure they feel like they make sense. I think the same thing about magic, right? If you open up a spell book and just do somebody else's spell without thinking, does this actually connect for me? Does this make sense for me? It needs to land for you, because if it lands for you, it'll stick and it'll be useful when you're reading the tarot. If you just take on what somebody else says without, like, you know what I mean? Like, run it through your own filter to make sure everything I say or anybody else says makes sense to you. That's going to really, really help. And I want to make sure, yes, Wands adventurousness, Toadstool Tarot says. Yes. Okay, so Marion K, real quick, sorry, says, I love that way of seeing it. I think of them as the heart and essence of their suits. Yeah, the essence. I love the word seed. I love the snow globe analogy. I love the word essence, all of that. But yeah, so let's talk about pages versus aces. So if I think of the ace as kind of pure, unmolded, kind of like clay, almost. It's like the clay of its suit. This may be a two pentacles of a reference, but hopefully you know what I mean. It's unmolded. It's unshaped. It doesn't have a direction yet. It's just pure. The pages, maybe a good way to think of it is think of the pages as, I can't remember if I've shared this analogy. I might share this analogy in one of my courses, but think of the pages as the fools or the magicians of their suit. Maybe fools is better. Let's think of the pages as the fools of their suit. So if you understand the general idea of the fool, right? They're like, la la la, this is fine. I've got this. I'm just going to wander off this cliff now. I'm not going to let my fear stop me. I'm kind of a little naive, maybe a little immature. Then the page is like the fool, but in its suit. So let's take a look at let's do the swords this time. So let's look at the page of swords. So this dude literally looks like the fool of his suit. Yeah, the pages are the newbies. Exactly, Exploring Tarot. Yes, exactly. So to me, think of it like this. The page is holding the ace. Boom. There you go. The page is holding the ace. They don't necessarily know what they're going to do with it yet, but they've got it and they're thinking about it and they're maybe playing with it. Here we go. We have the Page of Swords who's at a training dummy with his sword and he's exploring what is possible. What can I do with this? I have this tool now that's just been handed to me. I know it's possible it can turn into stuff, that it can become a thing. But right now it's still kind of intangible and I'm just playing with it. So for example, if we look at the, right, Princess, what's her name? I know. So like, yeah, the page is holding the ace. I'm sticking with that. That's good. I like it. I love these because we come up with this kind of stuff on the fly and it's amazing. Yes. The one who seeks to turn the idea into reality. The page ideally will develop his skill and become the knight, the queen, the king, right? We're going to move through that period of growth and expansion. Oh, I just realized, y'all, my coffee's probably still hot. I haven't even shown Peggy yet. Hey, honey. She just woke up. Poor thing. Look what I got. A friend sent to me as a gift. It's sparkly and it keeps my coffee hot.
Oh, cool.
Isn't that neat?
So you would be bugging me to go make you new coffee.
Right, when I'm streaming.
All right.
Okay.
So it's a present for both of us.
Yeah.
You get hot coffee and I don't get honey. Can you make me a coffee?
Yes.
Hi, Internet.
Becky says hi. Venus and Virtue says that's similar to how, hold on, let me find the comment so I can put it up. That's similar to how I view kings and queens in relation to the emperor and empress. The empress is culmination of all the queens. Yes, exactly. I view it the exact same way. And I know I talk about that in Tarot Bootcamp for Beginners for sure. I address that. So queens are the empress of their suit. Kings are the emperors of their suit. Yeah, exactly. I see knights more as the magician of their suit. Yeah. I know I totally contradicted myself because I couldn't remember my own analogy for a minute. Robin says, love you, Peggy.
Huh?
Toadstool Tarot, Robin said, love you, Peggy.
Oh, love you too, Robin.
She's so cute. Yeah, these are a lot of fun. Let me see. I want to make sure I don't miss anything. Again, you guys, if you think I've overlooked your question as we get going here, we're well underway, but yeah.
I slept in.
Okay. Yeah, this is helpful. So Princess What's Her Name just put question in all caps with her comment to me. That's helpful. If you're asking a question, can you do that? That actually helps a lot. I think of the pages as sort of the senior in high school or freshman in college. They know what they want to do, but need to learn more about it before they can apply it. I love that. That's perfect. Yeah, totally agree. Yeah, we're working on a top secret project. Shh. Only the Unicorn fam knows for now. Shh. We'll reveal soon. We'll reveal soon. I promise.
Once we perfect it.
No spoilers. Anyways, there's a new fun learning thing we're going to be bringing to the channel. We're just working on it. Okay. Anyway. Next question. 7 of Cups versus 8 of Swords and 2 of Swords versus 8 of Swords. Let's talk about it. Okay. Oh my God, I'm so excited that my coffee is still hot. You guys just don't know what a big deal that is. It's such a big deal. Okay. Well, because I don't use my at home insulated. Anyway, it doesn't matter.
Okay. I know.
Get on track, Lisa. Okay, so what are we doing? 7 of Cups. Ooh. 7 of Cups versus 8 of Swords and 2 of Swords versus 8 of Swords. This, I don't think anybody's ever asked me this one before. Okay, so we have 2 of Swords. What else do we need? 8 of Swords. Oh, I think I know what we're getting at here. Oh, and this is such a good deck to do this with. Did I use this deck before on one of these? I can't remember now. I bet I did because it's so good. So good. Anyway, and then what was the other one? No, don't drop my cards. No. I already put them in order so Peggy doesn't have to hunt for them for me.
Say what?
This is the series where I usually ask you to hunt for cards for me.
Oh, you were trying to be nice to me.
I see pages as the fools, and that's me. I see pages as the fools and knights as the magicians. Where is the 8 of Cups? There we go. Okay, so let's talk first about I don't want to lose track of my question here in all the commenting. 7 of Cups versus 8 of Swords and 2 of Swords versus 8 of Swords. So 7 of Cups versus 8 of Swords. Okay, do I not have the 7 of... Oh, I got the 8 of Cups here. That's why it wasn't making sense. Okay, hold on. 7 of Cups. Okay. So these are actually, really interestingly, all cards where we're in a place of contemplation to one degree or another. So let's talk first about 7 of Cups versus 8 of Swords. So in this deck, this is what the 7 of Cups looks like. We have our figure here kneeling, looking up at all of these cups, but they're not real cups, right? They're kind of floating in the sky, right? Yeah. Let me make sure I mark Jalen's question. Okay, I got your question, Jalen. It's in my list now. And I've got Rebecca's question on my list now. See you soon, Mystic Road. Okay, so very intangible. The Seven of Cups. In the Seven of Cups, we are in our imagination to some degree or another, right? We're considering. We're considering our options. We are looking at possibility. We might be daydreaming. We might be imagining what the future could hold or what avenue we could pursue. To me, all of the sevens represent a certain type of a turning point we've reached where we know maybe something needs to shift, but we don't know what. We may or may not actually make any shifts, but we recognize that something maybe needs to change, maybe needs to be adjusted. Something needs to happen. To me, that's happening in all of the sevens. In some of the sevens, we're in the process of doing something. In some of the sevens, we're considering. And this is a considering card. In the Eight of Swords, we're very much, so this is a very, and don't forget, we're in the suit of emotions in the cup. So this is a feeling thing. A lot of this has to do with our emotions, our relationships. In the sword suit, we're mentally breaking things down. Okay, I'll mark that, Alana. I think I got it already, but I'm going to mark it just in case. Okay, so Eight of Swords. I love, this was the card that made me buy this deck because this is such an incredible depiction of the Eight of Swords. But anyway, so we have our character here. She's perfectly fine. She's holding her sword. Can we please focus? Hello. Anyway, she's holding her sword. You get the idea. She's holding her sword, but she's looking in a mirror. In the mirror, she is fully bound and the swords are surrounding her. This is so brilliant because what is missing for a lot of us when we see the Eight of Swords is we're going, oh, we're stuck. We're trapped. No, in my opinion. I'm going to say that a lot because I never want to sound like I'm telling you this is the only way to interpret this card. But in my opinion, in the Eight of Swords, we're in the realm of the mind. And in the Eight of Swords, we think we're stuck or we're thinking we're overwhelmed by thoughts. So we're feeling like we can't move. You ever get that feeling where you're like frozen and you don't know what to do, either because there's too many ideas of what you could do or not enough, or you're feeling like you're analyzing, or you're in, I like to use the word or the term analysis paralysis for this. This is the Anna K Tarot, and I've got it linked in the description box down below for anybody that wants to take a look at it. This is a brilliant deck, and it's mass market. It's inexpensive. It's brilliant. Anyway, so in the Eight of Swords, we're in the Seven of Cups. We're considering what's possible, right? We're like, I've got all these different options and all these different cups. What do I want to do? I don't know. I'm kind of in this place of considering. But in the Eight, we're actively kind of stressed by options. We're actively kind of stressed by what we're thinking about. And most of the time, this is a trap of our own making. We're either too into the details, we're analyzing too much, we're thinking about all these different things, but we're not realizing that maybe none of those things are the option. Sometimes I get into, when I'm working with clients, I might get Eight of Swords moments come up when somebody's hearing a lot of other people's opinions and those are in their head cluttering up their own thoughts, but they're very much feeling trapped by their mind because of all these different things that are bouncing around in there, either their own or somebody else's, right? And that's the thing that I think is really important about this card. Whereas this, I feel like is a lot more open-ended and hopeful or dreamy. This is like, eek, I don't know what to do. I'm stuck. I can't move forward, right? Does that make sense? So that's how I would compare and contrast these two cards. Does that help to distinguish them some, Misha? Let me know what you think. And then we're going to move on to your next one, which was Two of Swords versus Eight of Swords. So bouncing off of what I've had to say about the Eight of Swords, let's take a look at the Two of Swords. So the Two of Swords is a less chaotic, but still difficult mental moment, right? In the Two of Swords, we're usually considering two options. So while in the Eight, we have all of this stuff cluttering up our mind. In the Two, we're usually trying to do an either or sort of situation. Ooh, do I go this way or that way? Do I stay in the job or leave the job? Do I stay in the relationship or leave the relationship? Do I have pizza for dinner or hot dogs for dinner? It's always in my opinion, I'm going to stop saying that because that's going to get obnoxious. You guys know by now. But it's really about either or, this or that. Like, what is it that I'm going to do in this situation? And the reason it feels so challenging is because in the Two of Swords, sometimes neither decision quite fits, but we're still stuck in this polarity of like this or that. Sometimes the correct decision is one or the other. It's possible. But a lot of times it's neither or both. Peggy has a thing. She just raised her hand. That's so cute. Yes?
I was so tired. you're never gonna be a total asshole. Yeah.
Yes, Hermione.
I always, you know what, the saying, whenever I see a two of swords, the saying always comes to mind to me is that it's gonna cut either way.
It'll cut either way. That it's a bad decision either way.
Or that there's gonna be negative consequences either way, and you have to decide. You have to.
That's always Peggy's take. I don't personally agree.
No. I mean, okay.
We've debated about this card actually before, but it is a valid perspective. Yes.
No. Everything else you say, I agree with. But I agree that. But I also believe that because it's a sword, whether it's a deep cut or a shallow cut, it's gonna cut either way, either choice.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. I mean, that is definitely a valid interpretation. And in fact, I learned this card. I learned the tarot on the Osho Zen tarot.
I think the follow-up cards
helps decide which. Yeah. And you can actually do really cool things with the tarot where if you're stuck trying to make a decision, you put the Two of Swords down and you draw a card to either side, or you shuffle your whole deck. You shuffle your whole deck with the Two of Swords in there and pull the card to either side to get perspective on the two decisions. There's all kinds of fun things you can do with this. But good night, Army girl. Bye. So the thing is, I'm going to lock this. So the thing with the Two of Swords is that you're often in a black or white thinking kind of situation. And the reason I like to highlight this as being very black or white is because you're very much in the perspective of thinking this or that. And sometimes it's neither, it's both. It's a creative solution. In this card, our character has walked away from both swords and is like, F this, I'm out of here. I'm going to find a new way. I'm going to find a different path. And this is the really interesting thing about this card, right? Is that often to me, it highlights that you're not considering all your options because there's probably something else that's better. But you're just really stuck in seeing only these two options. And as with all the cards of the tarot, when we're looking at a card individually all by itself, it's going to have a much different vibe and feel than if we're looking at it in context of other cards around it, which is why I do that other series where we kind of look at things in groupings, right? But yeah, so hopefully that clarified that a bit. Let me know if it helped, Misha. I hope it did. I mean, you may have already said, and it's really active in here, so I might miss it, but where's my Seven of Cups? There it is. Okay, so I'm just kind of putting cards away as we go so I can make sure I can find them again when we go to the next question. All right. Yeah, Toadstool's Tarot says, this is so good. This really speaks to Peggy's point. The RWS Two of Swords is like a pair of scissors where the decision made could end up cutting her own head off. Yes. And in the Osho Zen Tarot, it shows somebody with their hands on one edge of the cliff and their feet on the other edge of the cliff and the great chasm beneath them. And if they let go with their hands, they're going to fall and hit their head. If they let go with their feet, they're going to fall and break their legs, right? Either way, it's a bad decision. So the question is, what do you do differently to choose a different decision where you can float or you can, you know, let go with both at the same time and maybe you'll fly, who knows? So, you know, that kind of thing. This is a tarot channel, Army Girl, but thanks for popping by. There is a BTS tarot. You should check it out. It does exist. It's just a fan-made deck. Go check it out, see what you think. So yeah, super fun. Love breaking down this stuff so much. Okay. Kings versus Emperor. Let's talk about Kings versus Emperor. Backyard Naturalist, could Two of Swords be considered a sort of calm before the storm as well? Yeah, you could see it that way. You could see it as you're in the point of contemplation, considering before the consequences of the decision, right? That's totally possible. So yeah. So let's talk about, and if I've missed any questions, I will try to snag them and feel free to pop them in. We'll get through however much I can reasonably get through today. And then we'll do another one of these. Don't worry. This won't be the last one. I want to make sure I haven't missed any. Yeah. Exploring Tarot says Two of Swords, Seven of Cups, and the Lovers all seem to deal with options, choices, and decisions. Well, sure. Because I mean, guess what? What are we coming to the tarot for usually? We're usually trying to make some kind of decision. So it makes sense that there would be, and honestly, what is our life made up of? But a series of decisions we make every single day, and that shapes our life, right? So super fun. It's magnetic back here, y'all, so it won't fall back in my face. It's the little things. Yeah. Yeah, and the water in the background of the Two of Swords tells you that there's emotional turmoil in the back, right? That there's something more feely about that card. Emotions, and this is where you can start to really look at the elements in the cards in general. It's really helpful to start to unpack more of the meaning. Yeah. Context always changes because of surrounding cards. Totally true.
Well, that's what makes it so hard to learn, because it can mean something completely different if you get it in a different context, in a different place.
Exactly. Yep, exactly. Okay, sorry, back to Shannon's question. Okay, so kings versus emperor. Okay, so let's talk about the emperor and the kings, because I see the kings as the emperors of their suit, which might be the most effective way for me to explain that. But so we have our king, wait, this is a random king of pentacles. And what suit haven't I shown? I think I've shown them all now. Let's look at the emperor and we'll look at a king and we'll talk about it. So the emperor, ooh, no, a whole pile of cards just tried to go flying. Nope, we're not doing that. Okay, you stay there. So the emperor is big, control, like that kind of masculine archetype of like, this is my domain, this is what I'm in charge of, and he would rule over the 4 kings. So in the Game of Thrones, he would be the what was that top role everybody wanted called? I'm spacing.
King.
No, the Iron Throne. He would have the Iron Throne.
Yes.
He would have the Iron Throne, and these dudes would be the kings of their houses.
Of the surrounding,
the individual.
So the emperor will be the Targaryens or the Baratheons.
No, the emperor would be whoever sits on the Iron Throne.
Yeah, Robert Baratheon sat on the Iron Throne, so that would be Robert Baratheon or the people.
Robert Baratheon did not sit on the Iron Throne, did he?
Yes, he did.
Oh wait.
His
Okay, whatever. Okay, we're not going to talk Game of Thrones too much. Iron Throne dude, whoever that is, or chick.
And the kings of the north, south, east, and west.
What she said. You guys, I love Game of Thrones, but like, anyway. So I hope that kind of makes some sense. These guys would report to this guy, right? So this guy's got, he would be the tippy top kind of ruler of his suit, but he's very much about, the king is going to be in charge of everything related to, the emperor is going to be in charge of everything related to the domain, right? The ruler, he would be the one with all of the responsibility on his shoulders. Super true of the kings of their suit as well. So that's why they
are kings of their domain. But
yeah.
They have to, yeah.
Yeah. Peggy's getting excited. You can tell.
I'm waking up. Slowly.
Yeah. So Misha says, I see the emperor. Wait, I want to go back to my comments. I've got multiple screens I'm managing here. I see the emperor as king of kings, like king of the country instead of whatever they specialize in. And same with the empress. She's the queen of queens or queen of all. Exactly. So that is how I differentiate. Now in a reading, what does that mean? It means that if I see the emperor, I'm looking at, if I see the emperor, I'm looking at everything within that person's domain. What is within your domain and what do you need to look at in that area? Where do you need more structure? Where do you need to have more authority? Because of course, authority is a key word that we would associate with the emperor, right? He's authority, he's structure. Everything is like rigid kind of to a certain degree, right? There's a rigidity. There's also an action associated with the emperor. And then you take that and you make it just a little smaller. And then you have the king, but he's only in charge of the material realm. So now where in your material realm do you need to have authority? Whereas this is anywhere in your life. Do you know what I mean? So we're looking at bigger energy, smaller energy, but very similar energy. In my opinion, IMO.
Post Tarot just asked, is it the same thing with the Empress, the 4 queens?
Yes, in my opinion, yes. Okay. Yeah, absolutely. I see the queens as little empresses and the kings as little emperors. So it helps because if you really start to get an understanding of the feeling of the majors, you can start to apply them to the minors, which is super fun, in my opinion. I'm trying, you guys. I'm trying to stop saying it. Okay. So our next question came from Brian Elliott, who asks, can we talk about the knights? It tastes like cotton candy and vanilla. Wait, what? What tastes like cotton candy and vanilla? Can we talk about the knights? It tastes like, okay, we can talk about the knights for sure, but can you explain the cotton candy vanilla thing? Because you lost me there. I can be hyper literal though. So I'm glad that helps. Yay. Let me know what you think, Shannon. Hopefully I kind of got to the heart of your question. Yeah. Okay. The emperor. Okay. So knights in general. Oh, the drink I asked about? I don't remember asking about. Memory of a goldfish, you guys. What did I say 5 minutes ago? I don't know.
Oh, you were talking about a drink that tasted cotton candy and vanilla.
Oh, I asked about the Starlight Coke, the limited edition Starlight Coke that's in the States. It tastes like cotton candy and vanilla? That's weird. That's weird.
Barb says cotton candy and vanilla was a strange Coke flavor.
Yep, was the Starlight Coke. Thanks, Brian. I was like lost for a minute there. The comments are going really fast, so it's hard for me to catch everything.
Yeah, I'm reading the comments. I can't even respond to anybody because I can't type fast enough.
No. Okay, I'm so excited. My coffee's still hot. All right, so knights. Let's talk about the knights. Let me just pull them out. So to me, the knights are like the magicians of their suit. So just like the kings are the emperors, the pages are the fools, The Knights are like the magicians. They're the manifestors. They're the ones that take their suit's energy and put it into action. In my opinion, they're also the least, I want to say the least balanced of their suit, but that's not entirely fair.
I want to know if you have a favorite book on court cards.
I did star that question. Let me go answer.
Sorry.
No, it's okay.
I thought I was helping.
You're helping. It's fine. I want to find it though, so that I remember I've already answered it. My favorite book on the court cards that exists right now is Ethany Dawn's My Tarot Court, Your Tarot Court, Your Tarot Court. That's my favorite. It's really relatable. It's easy. I picked up a couple of other ones. One of them was by Lisa Robertson. I was not as much a fan of, I think, if I'm remembering right. I really liked Ethany's approach. I really like the court cards as they're addressed in Kitchen Table Tarot. That, to me, that's a good all-rounder. I answered that, and I answered that, I think. Yes. Okay. Thought for later. I'm bookmarking it. Okay. I'm trying to make sure I haven't like missed anything. Hi, Emily. Okay, so we have our 4 knights. We have our Knight of Rods in this deck. We have our Knight of Swords. We have our Knight of Cups. The courts in this deck are incredible, by the way. And we have our Knight of Pentacles. And they're all in various states of action, right? They are currently working with their element in some fashion, right? So we have, let's talk about our 2 most active knights, the Knight of Wands or Rods and the Knight of Swords. These dudes are both off fighting somebody or something, right? The Wand suit is going to just be really excited to go on any quest or adventure. They're like, oh, we're going to do a thing? I'm down. The Knights are tend to, in general, be more active because they are all active elements within their suit. So I'm going to get this wrong. There's 2 different schools of thought on the elemental associations of the Knights and of the Kings. So one school of thought is that the Knights are the air element of their suit. And in another school of thought, they are the fire element of their suit. And I don't want to get them mixed up, but for me, the Knights are very air of their suit. That's how they've always felt for me. So that's the association I'm going to stand by for now. So if Knights are the air of their suit, or the princes, if you're looking at Thoth, are the air of their suit, then they're very like, they have that quality of air. They're very intangible. I miss Imogen too. I know, I always miss Imogen. She was like probably my favorite tarot creator in the very beginning. Anyways, okay. She made me fall in love with the Everyday Witch Tarot. How did she come up? I don't know, but I miss her too. Okay, so yes. Oh wait, because I bet you guys are talking about her series on the courts. Yes, Shannon mentioned it. Imogen does have an incredible series on the courts. I can't remember if the King's video is still available, but she had a really good series on the pages, Knights and Queens, and kind of talked about their energy in a really cool way. Go check that out. If anybody can find that and link it, that would be amazing. Like, don't break your back or anything, but if you can find it, it was an incredible series. But yeah, so the air element to me is it's kind of mental, it's kind of intangible. If you think of how air behaves, right? It's fleeting, it's moving. So that's how the Knights are, but they're that within their suit. So the Knight of Swords is air of air. So he's very quick moving. He's very fleeting. It's hard to pin him down. He's in his head a lot, obviously, but he's very impulsive. And there's a little bit of impulsivity to the Wands as well, in my opinion, because they're also very dynamic and fiery. So you think about the behavior of the element, and then you think about the behavior of the element they are. So if they're air of whatever their suit is, that gives you something to work on. As far as why I see them as the magician of their suit, it's because magicians take what they have available and they use it. They're physically engaging or mentally or emotionally engaging with whatever they have. So for me, the knight is somebody who's going to be doing a thing. They're not going to be sitting idly by, with some slight exception for the pentacles, who the Knight of Pentacles, you'll notice, is not currently riding into battles. He's not nearly as active because Earth is the heavy element. He's air of Earth. So he's heavy, he's slow, but he's responsible. He minds his resources. He moves through things in very cautious, careful ways. Whereas the Knight of Swords is like quick to rush to judgment, quick to go after something. Like they're very like boom, 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 let's go. The Knight of Rods is very like everything's an adventure. Everything's really exciting. The Knight of Cups is just as fleeting and intangible, but in the realm of the heart. So think about how that plays out. Like this is going to be the guy who is constantly falling in love, or he's constantly like jumping from one person to the next in relationships. He's a little harder to pin down. He's very sensitive. He thinks with his emotions, but he also acts on his emotions very quickly. These are the kinds of things to think about. Is again, merge the two elements, and it gives you so much to build on that you can then start to go, oh, okay, that's how the nights are. I hope that gave some, I don't know if I really got where you wanted me to go with that, Brian. Let me know if you have more thoughts or a follow-up question, but I feel like that's kind of gives you an idea of how I view them. And again, you guys are going to have your own views and build your own views as you go. Yes. So Laura says, I feel like the Knights are always a bit reactionary. Yes. Other than the Knight of Pentacles. Here's the thing. The Knight of Pentacles can still be reactionary. He could be reactionary where he's very stubborn and rigid. So you're like, you try to invite the Knight of Pentacles to change, and he's going to be like, excuse me? Like, no, I'm going to hold on over here to my routine or to what's stable for me or what I think I need to protect. So he can be reactionary, weirdly, but in a rigidity kind of way, in a rigid kind of way. Second opinions, awesome. Sweet. I don't know if that helped. Hopefully it did. At least you got my perspective. So yeah, Knight of Rods. And thanks to everybody who is linking Imogen's court card stuff, because it's amazing. Where is Knight of Rods?
Got the document open, and I just thought of a really cool thing based on what you were saying.
Okay.
I know.
It's secret.
I know.
Okay. Peggy's bad at keeping secrets, y'all. Okay. I want to make sure I haven't. Oh my God, the comments. You guys are amazing. This is awesome. Okay, let me hide that. Okay. And in this deck, looking angry. What's this? Some of them do look angry. Yeah, this deck is very. If you want to learn the courts, this is an excellent deck for that, because they're so emotional, and they're emotional through all the cards, and all the cards are very people-y, so it's a useful people-y deck. Yes. Okay. Let's go over and grab the next question. Oh. So Amelia Joss says, my question is always about the difference between the 2 of Wands and the 3 of Wands. This is a good one. It's a common one, and it's a sticking point for a lot of us. So let me grab those and we'll talk about it. Because these cards, in this deck, it's much better. But in the Rider-Waite-Smith, they look real similar. Like, both are dudes looking out over a cliff. I could really use a Rider-Waite-Smith. I should have grabbed one. Good morning. Like in the Rider-Waite-Smith, you have a guy in a castle looking out over a vast landscape. And then you have in the 3 of Wands, a guy looking out over the sea. There's like a ship on the horizon. Like, they're both just guys up on a high point looking out. So what gives, right? So in this deck, it's a little bit easier. So let's take a look at it. So here's our 2 of Wands, or 2 of Rods in the Anna K. Here's our dude. He looks kind of miserable. I don't see the 2 of Wands as a miserable. Oh, is his face going to focus? I want you to see his face. He looks super grumpy. Hello, can you focus on the card, please? Oh my God, I'm sorry. There we go. See, he looks kind of bummed out. He looks kind of stressed, kind of sad. Most of the time, in my opinion, in the 2 of Wands, we're not stressed and sad. We're considering what's possible. So let's back up to the Ace. Remember how I said the Ace was like the spark or the impetus or the inspiration? So let's go back to my YouTube channel example. My Ace of Wands moment was, I think I want to start a YouTube channel. That sounds like fun. My 2 of Wands moment was, okay, so if I start a YouTube channel, what am I going to talk about? Like, how's it going to look? Like, the 2 of Wands is the planning, the possibility card. Now you've gone from the initial impetus, the initial spark, the initial catalyst. You've gone from that to the next stage, which is, okay, I'm going to roll with this impetus now to the next step. And the very next step after you have that impetus is, what could that look like? What's possible? So here he's considering which path he could go down. Maybe all paths go to the same place. Maybe they go to slightly different areas within the same place. Anything like that. So really, oh my gosh, my nose is so itchy. But really, it's about possibility. In the 3, we've already done the planning part. Now in the 3, and this is very similar to the Rider-Waite-Smith. I really have to scratch my nose. I'm so sorry. I'm not picking it. I promise. I'm just rubbing it. In the 3.
Please don't do that.
He gave me such a look. Okay, in the 3 of Wands.
I see you on camera with your finger up your nose.
That would never happen.
Bad things will happen.
Bad things would happen. Okay, so in the 3 of Wands, he's looking out because in the 3 of Wands, he's now going. Like, here he was trying to figure out which path. Now he's on the path. He's already started the journey. So my favorite keyword, and I talk about this in Tarot with Training Wheels, I'm pretty sure, but my favorite keyword for the 3 of Wands is embark. So this is possibility and planning. This is embarking. This is you're going now. I've decided to do the YouTube channel. In the Three of Wands, I've now probably created the channel name. I've probably created the account. I've probably started thinking about my first video or working on it. Or maybe I've even started my first video. This is when you've begun the journey. So you're thinking about the journey, you've begun the journey, right? This is the differential here. So to me, it's planning and then it's embarking, processing, possibility, doing. Like this is the beginning. So really, and it's if you think of it numerologically, you have the spark, right? And then when you choose to do something about that, you now have, sometimes you have two things, right? You have the initial impetus to do things, and then you're thinking about how you're going to do it. Now you've got two. Now you're going to actually do the thing. So you're birthing the action. That's the three. I don't know if that's going to make any sense outside of my own brain, but that's one of the ways that I like to talk about it. Yeah. Yep. Go forth and get the deck. What deck are you being asked to get? Are you being asked to get the Rider-Waite-Smith, babe? She's totally ignoring me. She's typing to somebody. Are you working on your thing?
Which deck was it? No. I'm probably going to be working on that in a bit.
Okay.
The NK Tarot.
Asked earlier, but just in case. Okay, I'm going to make sure I've got Princess What's Her Name's.
Your bratty son, Dustin, wants the NK Tarot.
I've got the NK Tarot.
I know.
Oh.
That one?
Yeah.
Oh, then I'm confused. What deck? See, this is how easy it is to confuse me. Because you've got so many decks back there.
NK is so good. Big expressions of the NK. Yes. Okay, I'm sorry if I've missed any questions. Hopefully not. Yeah, in the Light Seers Tarot, Shannon says she sees it as gathering resources. Yeah, so one of the common, let me put this into context. One of the common things you'll hear about the Three of Wands is that you're waiting for your ship to come in, because in the Rider-Waite-Smith, there's a ship on the horizon in the water. And in my opinion, this is because, or you'll see somebody pulling something towards themselves because they've.
Oh, yeah, they did RWS. Yeah.
I thought so. You got the giant. That's probably still in order. Grab that.
What?
The giant.
The giant what?
The giant Rider-Waite-Smith. In the big yellow box. Yeah, grab that one.
Okay.
Because that one's probably in order
still.
still.
So it was a good idea to grab a RWS.
Yeah. I never said it was a bad idea. I just didn't want you to have to.
I didn't know. I thought he was asking for the NK. And it's like,
we're going to fight on the internet now.
On your table, and I didn't even recognize it.
Oh, yeah. Oh, you're welcome. I'm so glad that was helpful. Yeah, so sorry, real quick on the ship coming in thing. It's because if you think about manifesting, right? Let's say you've manifested something. You're like, okay, I really want a new job. Then the Three of Wands moment, in the Two of Wands, you manifested it. You're like, this is really what I want. You've come to that idea. You've solidified the idea. And then in the Three of Wands, you're kind of drawing it towards yourself, which is a kind of a more magical way of looking at the two versus the three. That's my thought on that. Okay. Oh, giant deck. Oh, yeah. Mom never pays attention to me. I know. She's working on a super secret project, and now she can't.
I did. I caught the comment. I just didn't realize the content.
These are not in order anymore.
Aww.
And some of them are reversed because Peggy got her hands on it. Oh, no. This is actually great for this course. I should pull this out every time because it's so easy to show it. Okay, let me grab the... Oh, they're kind of... No, maybe I can make her sort it. She's going to be like, no. I really do want to show the 2 and the 3 in this one, though, real quick. That's the page. So many of them are upside down because she shuffles in reversals. She's a beast. She's a beast. We'll keep this handy in case it's helpful. But, okay. Here is the Three of Wands in the giant Rider-Waite-Smith. And way in the distance on the sea, you can see there's a few ships out there. So he's waiting for his ship to come in. That's the Three of Wands in the Rider-Waite-Smith, right? In the 2, he's holding a globe and looking out. He's on a castle wall and he's looking out. So he's still safe. He's still at home. It's very clear in the Two of Wands that he's still at home. He hasn't left. He's considering. He's looking out on the horizon considering. Oh, good Lord. It's going to be the last card. There we go. See? He's still behind his castle walls. He hasn't gone anywhere, right? So there is a difference in the perspective between the two cards. Welcome, Rai. Is that how I say your name? Welcome. Are you learning the tarot? So let me grab the next question here. Oh, how many tarot decks do I need for real? 1. Just 1. You don't need any more than 1. Some of us geek out and like to have a lot of them, but like, you just need 1 to read. That's it. Don't let anybody tell you different. Yes, Toadstool Tarot says 3 of Wands is my significator. It always feels to me like fired up. What's next? Yeah. In the 3 of Wands, you're really you're really within the energy, right? Like you're really within the project. You're really within the thing that you're doing. You're in a creation phase, right? Like it's a very dynamic energy. This is great. Mother Stoneheart, Ace of Wands. I want to get a bike and learn to ride it. 2 of Wands. I need to put on training wheels. 3 of Wands. Whee! Here I go off on my own. Yes. Yes. 4 of Wands is when you celebrate the fact that you have already come all this way, right? 5 of Wands is when you're worried about who's riding their bike better, you or the next guy. We could keep going with this analogy. 6 of Wands is when you take the training wheels off. You know what I mean? Like you can continue, because the thing about the wand suit is it's a very intangible, creative suit. So you can really apply it to a lot of stuff. Okay, let me go back to my question list because y'all, I want to get to a bunch of these. So the next question I have on my list is Michelle Russell. I get stuck on the difference. Oh, between the 2 and the 3 and 1s. Oh my God, that's so great that you guys asked the same question. That's awesome. We did answer that. That's amazing. Okay, let's talk about the Wheel of Fortune card. So, oh no, did I just lose it? Oh no. Oh no, I did it wrong. Okay, hold on. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to get it now. I can't get it now. Okay, so I'm so sorry. I accidentally unstarted it, so now I don't know who asked it, but we're gonna talk about the Wheel of Fortune because that was asked. I just said it out loud, so if anybody managed to grab it and can type it again for me in the comments, I'll try to pin it. But let's talk about the Wheel of Fortune. Let's start with the Rider-Waite-Smith anyways, because I have it, and then we'll look at the oh, it's right here on top. Yay. So Wheel of Fortune, this is such a dynamic card, and it's why it's so challenging to read because it's so simply illustrated in so many decks. Yes, Dustin just did a deep dive into the Wheel of Fortune. Do you want to link that video, Dustin, for anybody that wants to go watch the full deep dive symbology stuff? Okay, so the main attraction of this card is the wheel in the center and the 3 figures around the wheel, which tell you a little bit about what the Wheel of Fortune is about. So the Wheel of Fortune is about literally it's literally what it sounds like, and I'm about to sound real dumb here for a second, so bear with me. It's literally the wheel of fate, the wheel when fate comes to you and it changes your fortune, when change comes to your life and it's changing your fortune for good or for bad, right? So it's either your life is improving, okay, like when your boss comes to you out of the blue and offers you a raise, that's a Wheel of Fortune moment. Oftentimes the Wheel of Fortune is a change for the better, but not always. The Wheel of Fortune always denotes change and discusses your relationship with change and how you're going to handle it, right? So the Sphinx on top is the person who's on top of the wheel. Things are good for them, right? They're in a good place. Things are awesome. But the Wheel of Change is going to come for them too. And they're going to eventually be moving down the wheel. And the wheel, I'm pointing wrong. The wheel moves on this card moves counterclockwise, right? So this figure over here is on his way up. And this figure over here is on their way down. And if you just look at the Rider-Waite-Smith, you can go, there's always somebody on top, there's always somebody on their way up, and there's always somebody on their way down, because fortune is transient, right? Luck is transient. So you're never going to be in a place of good luck forever. Yes, Connie says what goes up must come down. Let's take a look, though, at the Anna Kay, because the Anna Kay Wheel of Fortune is excellent. Because you can really see what's happening. There's another deck I was just showing in a video somewhere, which shows in the Wheel of Fortune cards, somebody is bringing like what looks like a peasant or a commoner, a crown. Classic Wheel of Fortune moment. Here we can see the wheel, right? And we can see somebody falling off, somebody climbing up, and a couple people on top having a great time because they're sitting on top of the wheel, right? This is what makes this deck so great, right? It's remembering that when you're on top, you're not going to be on top forever. So like, remember that. Don't be a dick while you're up there, right? You know, when you're on the bottom trying to find your way up, know that your time will come. And when you're falling off, remember that like it will come around again. But more than that, my favorite way to look at the Wheel of Fortune is to talk about the inevitability of change and your relationship with change. Because guess where the best place to be is? On the wheel. Not here. My favorite analogy, and I learned it years ago. I don't know if I heard it somewhere, if I came up with it, I don't know. But what I picture every time I pull the Wheel of Fortune is on a children's playground. Do you guys know those horizontal round disc equipment?
We used to just call it a merry-go-round.
We called them merry-go-rounds. Yeah.
We had no idea what the actual
They had
was.
bars you could hold on to, right? And so a bunch of kids would get on this Wheel of Fortune, and an adult or a couple of other kids would push it and get it spinning. And then the people standing or sitting or whatever on this wheel would be on the ride, right? My favorite thing to talk about with the Wheel of Fortune is you have a choice. Where are you going to be on the wheel? If you are one of those kids who sits near the very end, or who stands near the very end, or he leans back, you're going to feel the change more. Why? Wind resistance. You're out there at the very edge. It feels like a real, Ashley just called it the kitty death wheel. Oh no. Okay. So yes, that's what I'm talking about. Anyway, so if you hang on near the edge, do these still exist in playgrounds? I hope they do.
I think most places consider them to be too dangerous.
Probably. I mean, they probably don't exist anymore.
Kids would fly off. We had one kid roll under one once.
Yeah.
There was a big gap.
Yeah.
And he's like, he rolled off and hit the thing and then kind of rolled back and ended up under it.
Yeah.
So like, edge, but he's just like, don't
my favorite analogy is like, if you hang out near the edge, it's because you're resisting change. You're going to feel it more. If you move to the center and you sit there, it feels like it's barely moving at all because you're moving with the change as opposed to resisting it. And that is my favorite analogy for change. And
spinning disc of vomit.
I know. This is my favorite analogy for change in the Wheel of Fortune because you don't have to cling so hard to your position on the wheel. You can move with it. You can move to the center and allow change to unfold. And that is my favorite sort of analogy for the Wheel of Fortune, is to recognize that you can move with change. But it is inevitable change. It is a constant. The wheel never goes backwards and it never stops. So even when it feels like you're in a position where your things are great and they're stable, they could be, but that wheel is still going. It might just be going real slowly. Let me bookmark your question, Rebecca, so that we can get to that, because that's a good question. Okay. Now let's talk about the, did we cover the wheel? Okay, are we feeling good about the wheel? I'm sorry to traumatize you all with bad childhood memories of the Wheel of Death. I guess it don't exist.
That was awesome.
I loved it, but I sat in the middle. I always sat in the middle. I was risk averse, right? So I wanted to be in the middle.
I would sometimes go to the edge, and then whenever, but
you seem like an edge kid to me.
Yeah, I was an edge kid. Sometimes I was the one pushing the wheel.
Yep.
And if I needed to break it, go to the center of the wheel, because the choices were always there.
Yep. You have the option. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Did that make sense? I hope that made sense. Okay. 2 of Pentacles versus Temperance. Ooh, this is another really good comparison. Okay. Because we've got that juggly energy for both. Okay. Here's Temperance. Okay. I'm going to have another sip of my coffee. These are so fun. I love doing these. Okay. Yes, this will be available on replay. These are really, people love watching these back because we cover so much stuff in here. It's jam-packed. So yes, please feel free to come back and watch later. Okay. Coffee's still not cold. Okay. I'm going to say that every time I take a drink out of this mug for the first 2 weeks, I'm sure. Okay. 2 of Pentacles. Here, can you? Yeah, you're not.
What am I doing?
I need you to put these in order, or like start fishing out cards or something. I need the.
Give me the card.
Thank you. I need the 2 of Pentacles and Temperance,
see,
please.
Dustin, what did I tell you? I would go get the deck. I thought the wrong deck. I would go get the deck, and then I'd be over here
putting them in order.
Trying to sort it out.
Okay, 2 of Pentacles. We often see somebody doing some kind of juggling action, right? They're usually trying to keep 2 pentacles or balls in the air at the same time.
Did you say balls?
Yep, I said balls. Balls. Okay, anyways. So that is what's happening.
Really bad joke.
Nope, we're not doing it.
We're not doing the joke. I'm just.
Okay, and then here's Temperance. Now, there is a bit of juggling looking energy between the two. If you look, this guy's trying to keep 2 balls in the air, and she's balancing 2 jugs of 2 like bowls of water across her back so that neither spills, right? No wonder these are confusing. So let's talk about it for a minute. So in the 2 of Pentacles, we are talking about our resources, our responsibilities, our material possessions, our material life, our world. What is it that we're responsible for? In the 2 of Pentacles, we're often talking about juggling responsibilities, juggling money. Sometimes there's a lot of, hi, welcome, Remy. Sure, you can ask a question. We're talking about tarot. So you can really look at this as you're trying to keep a bunch of balls in the air. And one of my favorite cards for this is from the Osho Zen, because it talks about, you can really see the stress and the tension of this card. But there's a lot of tension when we're trying to keep everything going, right? And usually we're feeling to some degree or another pulled in multiple directions, right? We're feeling like we're pulled this or that way. You'll notice that there is this similarity between all of the 2s, right? There's a little bit of decision-y, there's a little bit of being torn, there's a little bit of being pulled in opposite directions. There's a little bit of feeling like we're having a hard time, feeling like we can do both things. But sometimes we're doing this well, sometimes we're not doing this very well. In the Temperance card, we're talking about the big energy of trying to get ourselves away from extremes and to alchemize two different types of energies, right? Not necessarily two types of energies. We're trying to stay away from extremes. I want to keep it more general and broad because this is much more of a circle than a line, if that makes sense. I'm definitely not doing any readings or anything like that, Remy, but you're welcome to stay and learn a little bit about tarot if you'd like. Yeah, Elf says this may not be related to tarot reading, but how do you know you connect to a deck? Yeah, okay, we will talk about that. I'm hoping to get to as many. We've got like 20 more questions to go, so we'll see what we do as far as timing. And I'm going to also bookmark the Justice and Judgment because that's a good one to talk about. Okay, so let's talk about temperance for a second in a really mundane way. To temper something is to moderate it, to bring it down from its purest form to a degree, right? So if you the picture that we often see is somebody pouring from one jug to another, which is a nod to tempering wine, where we add water to wine. If you think about wine as an alcoholic beverage, adding water does what? It tempers it, it dilutes it, it makes it less potent, less than the fullness of itself, right? We're bringing it down. We're adding another ingredient in order to make it moderate it. Yeah. So when we look at temperance, we're looking firstly at moderation, at where are we in extremes? How can we come to the center? In the Two of Pentacles, what we're looking at is I'm juggling multiple things, multiple responsibilities. How can I juggle those? Do I need to put one down, do the other? There is still an element of trying to stay away from extremes here too. Like obviously, if you just focus on one ball and you drop the other, there could be consequences for that, but that could be exactly what you need to do. Whereas in temperance, usually the answer is you need to stay away from polarity, right? From extreme polarity. You need to find the harmonious center point.
Okay, I can't get my hand.
I know. Thank you so much.
So they are your suit, your suits.
They're not in order though.
No.
Oh yeah, you said that. Okay.
I said they're not in order. You said that. You nodded and said that. She said,
I did. I didn't understand.
Did you see that nod? She was saying.
I know.
She was saying
it's
it was fine.
It's fine. We'll figure it out. Okay.
I will work on one for you, but I'm not promising anything.
Is that the Pentacles? Give me that one and work on a different one if you want to work on one. Thank you.
I'll work on it.
Okay. We're talking about a pentacle. Yes, we're combining. Okay.
Oh.
So in the Rider-Waite-Smith, here's the Two of Pentacles, right? Juggling balls. This is what we're doing. This is what's happening. In the Temperance card, we are, let me show you the water pouring because yeah, here we go. We're water pouring. The other thing you'll notice about the Temperance card in the Rider-Waite-Smith is she's got 1 foot on land, 1 foot on water. She's not all water. She's not all land. So we're staying away from those extremes. In the Anna Kay, she's coming up from water, having just collected it, but she's still in a liminal space. There's an in-betweenness to the Temperance card, right? We're not in one or the other. Yeah, Shannon says, I tend to see temperance as work-life balance. That's what I see this card for. But this can be work-life balance. If you pull it in a spread, specifically on a career question, it can be where are you in extremes with regards to your work? Where do you need to pull it back? There's a lot more to temperance because it goes into some really alchemical places. Talks about, just the general concept of alchemy and creating the vitriol, it goes deep into alchemy, okay? I'm not going to try to explain it because I'm still just learning about that piece myself. But in temperance, we're looking at moderation, in my opinion. Whereas in the Two of Pentacles, it could be the right choice. It could. Did you just take my pentacles away?
No, I have it right here.
Two of Pentacles, please.
Oh. What's the cups?
I don't know.
Did I already hand you the cups?
No. I think you have the cups and the pentacles.
Two of Pentacles. Two of Pentacles.
How do I have? Oh. Wands, there's cups.
Yeah.
Okay, I hope that makes some sense. Love your guys' feedback in the comments for this one as well. Modern Metaphysique. Two of Pence for me is always balancing resources, time, money, energy. Exactly, because it's in that suit of resources, right? Exactly. Temperance for me is about moderating behavior, moderating activity, moderating. What do you need to moderate? Where are you in extremes? Is there any way to download transcripts of these videos? I don't think so.
It's an interesting question.
It is an interesting question. I'll look into it. If there is a feature on YouTube that I can turn on or something, I will check that out. Because that would be cool. And eventually I hope to distill a lot of this into...
Well, they're going to be on the channel for rewatching anyway.
That's true. Yeah.
You just subscribe to the channel so you can find it and then rewatch it there.
Peggy's so helpful.
I'm never all that helpful.
I'm back with sound. The chat alone can provide so much insight. You all are amazing. Yeah, the chat is amazing in here. I'm marking questions as I see them. And don't worry, you guys, if we don't get to your question this time, I will do another one of these. I try to do them about once a month. Thank you. You are the bestest.
I am. I'm amazing. Thanks, Dustin.
Still bitter about that.
I'm still bitter.
Okay. Our next question is aces and pages. Oh my God, the difference so hard. Okay, we did address aces and pages, so it's good to know that that was a common question. If you missed it, Pinky Little Mama, we did cover it. It's earlier in the chat, so you can watch it back. Also, the 7 of Pentacles versus the 8 of Pentacles. That's a good one. Let's talk about that one.
Swords and Wands.
So you are the best.
I am. You
Okay.
owe me.
I don't owe you, but
Yes,
I appreciate you.
You owe me all the things.
All the things. Okay, 7 and 8 of Pentacles. Okay. We'll show the Rider-Waite-Smith and talk about it, and then we'll show the Destin says, love you too, Mom.
Yeah, you owe me too, son.
Okay, so we'll talk about the Rider-Waite-Smith, and then we'll flip over to the Anna Kay. So in the 7, now remember what I said, if you were here earlier in the chat, 7s are crossroads. They're turning points. They're moments where we're considering what's been happening up to this point. Do we need to make a change? Do we not need to make a change? This is true of all of the 7s, in my opinion. The 8 is where we've reached a point. So numerologically for a second, 7s for me are transition or turning points. 8s are structure, stability. We're real, but extra stable. We're double 4s. We're like really in it now, right? We've really committed. So this is true of the Pentacles. In the 7, our farmer is looking down at his plant, at his crop, and he's thinking about it. He's kind of considering it. He's like, oh, have I done everything right? Did I give enough plant food? Did I sow these seeds at the right time? There's a lot of like looking back on your choices and going and wondering, did I do it right? Right? It's yes, 7s are totally assessment cards. Yes, yes, yes. So it's very much an energy of like, okay, this is already about to bear fruit. Hopefully I did it right. There's a lot of that kind of energy in here. There's also an opportunity to maybe make some small adjustments, but in my opinion, in the 8 of Pentacles specifically, we have a lot less room to make changes because a lot of this stuff, when you think of planting something, how everything turns out at the end often has to do with stuff you did way before that you can't change now. But there is an element of looking back on that and thinking about it and considering learning from your progress. Okay, at this point, for example, he might be noticing that his fruits are a little underdeveloped and he's realizing, oh, maybe I should have fed them more. Maybe I should have done this more. And while he may not be able to change this crop, he can assess that, learn from that, and change it going forward. He can change the result by applying what he's learned from this experience to go, okay, I didn't get the biggest fruits this time, but now I know I need to plant them a little earlier, or I need to add more plant food at this stage. So there's an assessment thing. So in this way, the 7 and the 8s have very different energy. In the 8 of Pentacles, we're in a completely different profession, right? Now we're building something, we're making something. This is where we're in the production phase, right? So we have perfected our process. So we've gone through the assessment period, we've learned our lessons. Now in the 8, yes, the perfection period, Adelina, exactly. Now in the 8, we're like, I've learned my lessons. I now know how to churn out a consistent product, right? Look at Peggy's Etsy shop is a great example. When we first started, there was a lot of making a thing, testing it out. How did the size work? Was it quite right? Was it not quite right? And we kept tweaking. Like I would give her feedback based on how my decks fit or whatever. What were the features I liked? What were the features I didn't like? What were things that didn't help? And then by the time we're in the 8, she's in the 8 now. She's ironed out the kinks. She knows what she's doing. She puts out a consistent product time and time again, and we know what works now. So in the 8, there is a couple of things at play. In the 8, there is the tiny little refinements you make because you ironed out all the big stuff, but there's also repetition in the 8. At this point, it's less creative. It's less, you're not building a thing. You're not starting a process. You're not, this is very much almost like factory work in a way. The process has been perfected. Now you're just doing the thing again and again and again because all of that structure already exists. It already exists. So there is already now this consistent thing that you can do or create. So this is a point in a job when you're really in your stride. You've hit your stride and you're just going. But in the 7, you're still learning the lessons. You're still integrating based on how things are turning out. I hope that clarified. So let's take a look at them quickly in the Anna Kay. I got it. Oh, another suit. Thank you.
Yeah, I had the last one.
So in the Anna Kay, you can see this. So in the 7, our farmer is literally digging up his potato. We'll say potatoes because you dig up potatoes, right? So let's say he's digging up his potatoes and he's checking them. And he gets to learn the lessons. Okay, did I plant the potatoes in the right place? Did I do it good? How did it turn out? And again, here in the 8, very similar to the Rider-Waite-Smith. Welcome to the Magical Unicorn fam. Thanks, Angelica. Okay, so here in the 8, you have perfecting. Right now here, he's showing his teacher, look, I've ironed out my kinks. This is the product. There's still an element of refinement happening here. There's still an element of continuing to improve your craft, but you've gotten to a stage where you can churn out something consistent, and now the changes are subtler, they're tinier, they're refined, right? Yes. So why it says that 7 is you're ready for fruition. Pinky Little Mama says, let me pull up your question here. I'm going to find it. That was a really good question. You're ready for fruition because you're bearing, where's the, I already put it away. Hold on. Where's the 7? I'll show you. Because the 7, if you've planted a strawberry plant, right? And you've been feeding it and watering it, and now it's bearing fruit, the fruit tells you what you did right and what you did wrong, right? The fruit gives you information. So when you're digging up your potatoes or you're harvesting your crop, you're now finding out, did I do a good job? And then you're making changes based on that. Does that make sense? I feel like you guys are solving problems in the chat right now. There is a transcript?
I think the transcript is just for the chat.
Interesting.
I don't think it shows you anything about the video itself.
Oh, cool. Okay, so hopefully that does clear it up for you a little bit, Pinky Little Mama. I know it's a lot, but yeah, you are harvesting your fruit in the 7, but you're not really reaping reward yet. Does that make sense? You're in the information gathering stage, kind of. That's how I see it. Tarot student says, always thought 8 of Pentacles is diligence. It is diligence, I think. 8 of Pentacles is when you're really committing to your path. You're doing the same thing again and again. There's a certain amount of doing the hard work that's less exciting, less fun, that kind of thing. Yes. Darcy says, oops, where did it go? Hold on. I just saw it. Here it is. Oh, no, wrong one. Here we go. 7 equals assessment. 8 equals putting it into practice. Transcript shows you the video's auto-generated closed captions. Yeah, so that could give you something to read back for sure. Yeah. Okay. Let me see where we're at here. Okay, Hanged Man versus Hermit. Oh, this is another good one. Okay. These are so fun. Hermit versus Hanged Man. I love the comparisons because they really help sort of solidify the meanings for people, I think, because they can seem so similar, and then you get them in a reading and you're like, wait, I just said that. Like, what? Okay. I'm going to have another sip of my coffee. I thought 7 was just ready. That's why it was confusing. Going to 8 to start working again. Yeah. Peggy is the 8 of Pentacles, like legit. There is actually a deck out there that shows somebody sewing in the 8 of Pentacles, and it makes me think of Peggy every time. I can't remember if I even have that deck, though. I have to think about that.
If you have it, you have to show me the card.
This is hot enough to like burn my lip. Does anybody know what deck I'm talking about that has this person sewing? It might be the Good Karma Tarot, which I do have. I'm thinking about it. Is that the Good Karma? My memory does work. Yay. Oh my God, it's so good. Okay. Let's talk about it. So the Hermit comes earlier in the Major Arcana. So we have our Hermit card. And then we have our Hanged Man card. Okay. So a couple of things. I have a couple initial opinions. We're going to show the same ones in the Anna K. So here's our Hermit card. I don't care if it's a little fuzzy because the artwork is soft and pretty anyway. And there's our Hanged Man card. Okay. So to me, even just visually, the very first thing that I have, or the very first thing that I notice, is that one looks really voluntary and one doesn't. Now you can make of that what you will, but that is a very visual difference between these two cards. The Hermit is consciously and intentionally going on a journey of introspection and learning and wisdom. The Hanged Man is like, oh shit, I'm in this position. I've been just strung up. What else can I do but learn from this situation? There's more to it than that. That's just my initial, like, visually. This one is very, like, proactive, and this one seems a little more reactive, just visually, okay? But more than that, the Hermit card is a card of turning within. You're going within to find your inner wisdom, to learn about yourself. Introspection is one of my favorite keywords for the Hermit card because it's about turning that light within, but then learning enough about yourself that you can then shine a light for others. So there's a personal growth and evolution aspect to this card that I think is really, really powerful. You can also speak to spiritual journeys with this card. You can also speak to real big questions you ask yourself about life in the universe and how it all works. You know what I mean? There's a really big conscious journey that you're going into with all of that that is pretty incredible. And that is something, welcome to Badass Unicorns, Elf. But that is something that's really powerful about the Hermit, is that you're really consciously saying, I'm going to go on this journey. I'm going to go take this trip into myself and come out on the other side wiser, smarter. You know, I'm going to take that and run with it. In the Hanged Man card, we've journeyed from the Hermit to the Wheel of Fortune. So we've learned, we've become wiser. Now we've had a turn of fortune, right? Something's changed. And then we go from that into either Judgment or Strength, depending on how you look at the numbering system. And then from Judgment or Strength, we're moving into the Hanged Man. The Hanged Man has a heavy element of sacrifice, of surrender, and of, excuse me, I had a little burp come up. Sorry. There's surrender, there's sacrifice, and then there is wisdom gained from those experiences. There's also suspension, waiting, being in a position where you are stuck, making the best of the fact that you know you can't move forward right now to learn. There's a lot more to it than that, but there's this opportunity in this card to gain some peace and some perspective. And perspective is another excellent keyword for the Hangman, because of course he's literally upside down. He has to look at the world a new way. Yeah, tarot student says martyrdom. Totally. So we can have this energy of like learning our lesson, growing and evolving, but often we are choosing to give something up. Now, Thoth, Crowley has a very interesting take on this in the Thoth Tarot about, you know, basically he kind of besmirches the idea of sacrifice. But often I do find that when the Hangman comes up for a client or for myself, there's some element of sacrifice. We are consciously choosing to give something up to pursue greater wisdom, to move our life forward in some very monumental way. A good example could be distinctly choosing to stay in a situation that maybe feels like it's challenging you in difficult ways, but you're staying there because you recognize that by staying there, by making that small sacrifice, you have something you can learn. You have something you can gain from that experience. The yellow around the Hanged Man's head speaks to the enlightenment experienced through the process of sacrifice, surrender, suspension, having life be on hold. I mean, we've had, Connie says, I'm in my Hanged Man year. Yeah, there's a lot in this card about waiting. One of my favorite ways to look at this card too is like the cocoon, right? When a caterpillar turns into the cocoon, I'm very good at explaining science, y'all. When the caterpillar turns into the cocoon or cocoons itself, it's not doing a whole lot in that moment, right? Like it doesn't necessarily seem like a pleasant experience, but in the end, they get to become the butterfly. So there's, I think, a little bit of challenging energy to this card. It doesn't always feel great when we know we're about to, a good example. Okay. When Peggy and I met, we were long distance. We were engaged the second time we ever met in real life. Okay. We were long distance. She was in another country, 3 hours ahead of me on the time zone. Like it was hard. There was times when we knew when she and the boys were going to be moving out here and when we were going to actually see each other in person more regularly, that gap was only about 3 or 4 months. In that gap, it was the hardest. It was the hardest because it felt like such a major sacrifice. We couldn't be together, but we knew that in this time we could make the most of that time, right? So we did a whole bunch of stuff in that time to like lay the groundwork for what was going to happen after. So there's a lot of energy of being in suspension that's very potent and powerful from a growth perspective. And somebody asked to see the face of the Hanged Man in the Anarchy. Yeah, he don't look too happy. Hello, can we focus? There we go. That's the Hanged Man there. He looks much less peaceful than our Rider-Waite-Smith Hanged Man, right? How do I hold these? There we go. So for contrast. There we go. Yeah. So hopefully that did that help, Misha? Yeah. I mean, this is COVID lockdown. Let's be honest. That's exactly what COVID lockdown feels like. We're doing that for the greater good, right? Like when we stayed at home, when we did all these restrictions. Greater good. but like there was suspension there was sacrifice, there's a lot of life stuff that couldn't move forward during that time that still can't move forward, right? So there's a lot of that still happening. But yeah, hopefully that helped. Oh, turn them right side up to see. Oh, I guess I could have done that. Yeah, here's the right side up Hanged Man. Yeah, he looks grouchy. I mean, don't forget, he's hung, right? There's a whole element in historical tarot, too, about the Hanged Man being like the bandit and the bandit, I can't talk, being the bandit, being the one that was caught doing something bad and is now having to learn their lesson. So you can also look at this card that way, too. You can look at this as, oh, wasn't going about that the right way. Now I'm stuck having to make a sacrifice. You can totally look at this card through that lens. There's different ways to approach that, which is amazing. Yay, badass unicorn. That's awesome. Okay, so let me throw them back. Let me put them back, and then we'll grab our next question. That's how traders were hung. Exactly. Yeah, there is a lot of context to the card. You can deep dive into any one of these cards, like crazy deep, if that's what you want to do. But I try to put it into like everyday life context as much as possible, because most of us hopefully aren't going to get actually strung up for doing a bad thing. Like, hopefully not. The entire pentacle suit and how not to relate it to money all the time. Okay, here's how I like to think about Earth as an element, and hopefully this helps. Oh, I'm so sad Lisa didn't see the shade I threw earlier. What shade?
Oh no,
obviously,
shade?
Obviously I did miss it. Feel free to repost your shade. That's fine. I'm cool with it.
It's not shady anymore when you're like, oh, but I could use some shade.
It's fine. I don't mind. Yes, a Hanged Man period can totally last for years. Absolutely.
Oh, you said impressive at your age.
Impressive at my age?
You told him. You said throw the shade.
Wait, what was impressive?
I don't know what was impressive. He just made us
rude. Butthead. Anyways, Dustin, I swear to God, is like the little brother I never had. Anyway,
pretty much.
Which is really odd because he calls my wife mom. So like, make that make sense. Anyways, okay, pentacles.
A family tree with not very many branches.
It looks like money because money is the easiest metaphor for physical material resources, anything tangible. So anything that you can spend, give, or receive can be a pentacle. So a great example, one of the things that I find I end up talking about a lot with pentacles is people's energetic resources. So when we're talking about resources, what are resources? What do you have to spend? You have time, you have money, you have energy. To me, those are the three main things that you have to spend. Physical effort, objects, trading decks. You're not trading money. There's barter there. Excuse me. So I see all those hearts. I see it. Yep. When you're thinking about the pentacles, think about anything you can give and receive. So the reason I end up focusing so much on energetic resources, because most of us don't realize how we're spending our time and our energy the same way that we notice how we spend our money. Money is such an easier thing to think about. So yeah, when you pull a 2 of Pentacles, you could be juggling your finances, but it's much more likely when you pull this card that you're juggling responsibilities or resources you have in your life. Responsibilities was the other one. Time, money, energy, responsibilities. Yeah, exactly what Dustin said. Hold on, let me put this up because this is exactly what I'm saying. Resources in general, time, money, energy, growth, cycles, career, home, hearth, anything that feels earthy. Anything that feels earthy can be pentacles. And that's the beautiful thing, is this is why it's so important, in my opinion, to build a relationship with the elements and with the numbers, because then you have infinite possibilities. Yes, health is another really important thing you can look at with the pentacles. It's tangible, right? How you're physically feeling, which I think is one of the reasons I go to energetic resources a lot. I don't give specifically health readings, but I can speak about how somebody needs to manage their energy when they're in a health crisis, for example. That can definitely come up a lot in pentacles. Yep, absolutely. Oh my gosh, my nose is itchy. I hope that gave some clarity to that point. I have 2 questions besides the one about squirrels. First, do you read the same card differently in different decks? Yes, absolutely I do. So let's grab a rando. Let me grab one that is really obvious. Okay, this might actually be a decent example. We'll see. I'm going to roll with it. I'm going to talk about the Chariot card real quick. Okay. So I will read. Okay, now, not everybody is the same way. and this is a really important thing, you don't have to read this way. You can read the card exactly the same no matter what deck you use, because that's what feels natural and comfortable for you and what feels real, you know. Or you can lean into the artwork and the imagery. And I'm building right now an intuitive tarot course to follow Tarot Bootcamp that's going to be on my website. I'm hoping to launch it by summertime. And in that, I'm really getting into this topic specifically about the layer of the artwork and exploring what you see and what jumps out at you and what seems meaningful, right? So when it comes to the Chariot card, here's our traditional Rider-Waite-Smith Chariot card. And in this card, we see somebody in the chariot. There's no reins. There's no physical control over the creatures that are pulling the chariot. There's none of that. But in the Anna Kay, we have somebody on a chariot. They're going into the sun, and he's got a freaking whip. I actually really dislike this chariot card because the whip makes no sense to me. But if I pulled this particular deck for a reading, because I do pull decks intuitively a lot of times for my clients, if this is the deck I've pulled and this is the card that comes up, I'm going to consider the relationship with that whip when I read this card. I'm going to be like, are you exerting too much control instead of just allowing yourself to go with the flow? Are you moving forward from the strength of your will and your desire, or are you trying to push things in a different direction? Because, you know, I'm going to actually take that whip into consideration. And this is where we get really into the intuitive layer of reading for sure. But yeah, I definitely do read cards differently depending on the artwork. And that's one of the reasons why. And this is the number one reason I like having so many decks, because it gives me so much room to play. And as a reader, that's very, very exciting. Yeah, my nose always itches when I'm vibing. Shannon has it 100% correct. Yep. Yeah, one deck, hashtag one deck for each sign. Is that a request? Is there a hashtag about that? Because I will totally do that one. That would be fun. Let me just bookmark that. Where did that go? You know, I can't keep up with these comments at all. I'm trying. Yeah, I heard that nose itches with the spirits trying to get your attention. I've always had a really itchy nose when I get really into the zone reading tarot. So I used to do it a lot when I was doing these kinds of videos a lot in the beginning of my channel too. Okay, I'm marking that so I don't forget. Okay, back to questions. Death versus judgment. This is a good one. Death versus judgment. What time is it? It's 12:30. I can go a little longer. Okay. Again, if I don't get to your question, don't worry. We will do these again because they're super fun. Death. Okay. Welcome to Badass Unicorns, Jennifer. Welcome aboard. Good timing. We're doing badass stuff next week. Okay. Death and judgment. Death. Hold on. Y'all, we're almost going to be at the level of members where we get to have another emoji. That's fun. That's a fun level. I love that. I like making the emojis.
Start working on it.
I know. Well, I like to ask people what they want. Okay, anyways. Rabbit hole. Okay. Death. Judgment. Okay, I'm going to start with something simple, then we'll get into the Anna Kay. In the death card, welcome to Magical Unicorns, Beth Lecha. Holy cow. You guys are awesome. Okay. Oh, I love to see our unicorn fam grow. Oh my God. Okay. So sorry. Very distractible. Okay. Death card is in simplest terms, death is ending, very inevitable, usually somewhat difficult or unpleasant, inevitable ending. You can't get in the way of death. Death comes for all of us. And the reason this is such an excellent metaphor is because it is unavoidable, inevitable change. It is different than, okay, I know where this is going to go, because Wheel of Fortune and death can be a little tricky too. But in death, we're losing something, we're letting go of something, we're releasing something, something is leaving, something is going away, something is ending. It's a very specific type of change that is really challenging and difficult for a lot of us. So really, this is a whole metaphor that can go so many places, right? In judgment, my favorite way to look at judgment is that it is an opportunity that you may not take advantage of. Hopefully you do, but it is an opportunity to consciously choose to let one part of yourself or one way of going through the world, moving through the world go, so that you can level up and step into a new level of being, so that you can actually come to a higher plane, so that you can level up. If you're a gamer, you're leveling up. This is your level up card, but you have a choice. The trumpeter is calling your name saying, hi, it's your turn. Do you want to level up? And you can go, nah, man, I'm good. I'm good. And then you can stay where you are and not level up. And that's a choice that you have to make. That's the defining difference. Death is not offering you a choice. Death is like, here is what I'm handing you. You have to deal with this now. Good or bad, you have to deal with it. Whereas judgment is like, I'm inviting you. This is an invitation. You've received a signed, sealed letter with a pretty wax seal on it. You can open it, read it, and decide for yourself. Are you going to accept the invitation or are you going to walk? Right? Are you going to stay? Oh my gosh, hold on. I missed one. Welcome to Badass Unicorns. Hi, Wendy. Yay. Okay. Wow. Okay, this is fun. I love that it highlights it for me. That's so super fun. It makes it easy to spot them. Okay, so, and then we can jump off into death versus, I really want to talk about that. Can you guys tell I could do this all freaking day? I love this. This is like my favorite thing.
So should I just find something else to do and keep myself busy for a while?
Yeah, if you've got work to do, I mean, feel free.
I have sewing to do, but that's the machine I'm using is loud.
We've already tested it, and nobody seems to mind the machine.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then I'm probably going to get to work in a couple of minutes.
I know, because I'm like, I got to remember how my cup works, because there's a lock so that I don't spill it. Okay. Oh, did I miss Mitchell's question? Let me make sure I get it. Oh, Michelle. Sorry, not Mitchell. Okay. Let's go back to our question list, which is strangely, even though I keep unbookmarking them, staying the exact same length. Okay. Does that, oh, let me show the Anna Kay. I said I was going to, and I didn't yet. Does that kind of make sense with death versus judgment, though, exploring tarot? Here is death in the Anna Kay. He's kind of creepy dude, but like, he's cool. I like him. He's kinder. I feel like he's saying, the time has come. I've got my big scythe. Hello, face? Okay. My camera got confused. Death is like, here I am. I'm here. You have to deal with me now. It's inevitable. You don't have to fight it. Fighting it, though, in this case, does you no good. In the judgment card, if you fight judgment, you can. If judgment says you've been invited to be a better person and you say no, that's fine. You'll have consequences, but you can. Death is like, yo, I'm here. This is happening. You can choose to respond to it in different ways, but it's happening regardless. That's the most important thing. So here in the Anna Kay, you really see it. So here's death come for you, right? I know it sounds dark and intense, but it's a lot, right? Death is a big archetype. And then here's judgment. She was down in the cave. The angel's up there calling her up, saying, come up here. Come up into the sunlight. She didn't have to walk up. Nobody is forcing her. This is not inevitable. This is an opportunity. It's different, right? Does that make sense? Yes, Mystic Road says, oh, I got to be on the right screen. I know some of you guys are making so many good comments. I see judgment as leveling up or needing to go back and redo or reassess. Depends on cards before and after, etc. Yeah, exactly. It's often an opportunity. And yeah, there can absolutely be times when judgment comes up as a, where judgment comes up as a thing where it's like, you might not be ready for judgment yet. And depending on the context of the surrounding cards, it could be like, this is here for you, but you have to like be in the right place for it. Okay. I'm going to answer the question about joining the Unicorn Fam because there is a problem with some people on their phones. So if you're trying to join the Unicorn Fam and you don't see a join button near the subscribe button, it's probably because you're on a device that's not recognizing it or seeing it. I have a link in the description box. If you go into the description box, it'll say join the Unicorn Fam and there'll be a link you can click. That should work for you. Let me know if not, but that should work for you. So anybody who's struggling, that's how you do it. Okay. And there's like a little video where Peggy and I talk about it a little so you know what the heck you're getting into. Please don't feel like you have to rush. Yeah. Death be like, yo, I'm leveling you whether you want it or not. Yeah, exactly. This is the Anna Kay Tarot and it is linked in the description box for you guys. You might have to refresh because I didn't have it linked when I first started. So if you've been here from the beginning, you might have to refresh to see it, but it's there. Let's actually, before we get too far away, I'm going to skip ahead to Robin's question only because I think it's a good laddering off from this one, which is death versus tower. So we talked about death being inevitable change. The tower is also inevitable change. So this can get a little bit muddy. Let's talk about it. The tower is, I think, arguably the most difficult card in the deck. Because let's be honest, let's say, have you ever played the game Jenga? Or have you ever built a Lego tower? Okay, let's use Jenga. In Jenga, have you ever played Jenga? Jenga, you know the game. In Jenga, you're laying wooden blocks and you're trying to continue pulling ones out of the top, out of the bottom and put them on the top, right? But you're trying to do that without the tower toppling, okay? That's literally what the tower card is kind of doing, right? In the tower card, we've built up a tower. Now, this tower can represent the way we view the world, can represent our ego, can represent something really important to us. Welcome to Magical Unicorns, Faithfully Geeky. Yay! Oh my God, you guys are so awesome. We're going to get a new emoji for sure. Yeah, so the tower is anything you've built. So usually this has been a structure that has gotten increasingly substantial and increasingly rigid in your life. Usually a way of thinking, can be something about a relationship or a job, something you're very embedded in because you've built it. It's gotten higher and higher. If you've built this structure, it's a big deal. It's a big part of your life, right? A tower represents this lightning bolt up at the top, right? This represents some kind of divine, like historically, it represents some kind of divine intervention, right? Like some kind of greater power coming in and knocking the tower down, like setting it on fire, and people are leaping out to try to save their lives because this is big, huge upheaval. Welcome to Badass Unicorns, Jennifer. You guys are awesome. Holy crap. Okay. So that's what this is, right? You're getting knocked out of the tower, and your tower is coming crumbling down. Okay. We've all had an experience like this. Things are trucking along perfectly fine at your job, and you get I was going to say a pink slip. I've never literally gotten a pink slip. Where did that come from? But you get fired, right? Or you get laid off. Or your relationship seems like it's just coasting along. Things are good. They're solid. And then boom, something happens, right? These are the big ways the tower shows up. Relationship. Uh-oh. Okay, we're done. If you're new to the channel, hi, welcome. Peggy sneezes a lot, and we taught Bruno to howl when she sneezes because we are ridiculous, and so I had to help save you from all of that. I'm sorry.
You should have just let it go.
I should have. Everybody says bless you. Peggy, I've told this story before, but literal complete strangers will rush up to Peggy. Are you okay? In public when she does that. Also, that's been real fun during COVID. Let me tell you, people do get some freaked out when Peggy sneezes in public. I should laugh because it's really not funny, but it's also been a little difficult. Guess what makes her sneeze? Dust. Guess what masks have close to your face? Dust. So that's been fun. Poor thing.
Guess what sewing creates?
Dust. Okay, so the reason this card scares us so much is because it's usually breaking down something that we are very attached to, right? Oh, Misha's literally asking about death versus the tower. That's what we're talking about. That's what we're talking about. So the tower is something's being broken down. Now, this is really important because this is for a very specific reason. When a tower comes calling, it is usually because you've built up something that's not good for you, not good for your life, not good for your greater good, isn't serving you, isn't serving the people in your life, is somehow harmful, right? In some way, this is not a good thing. This is a bad thing that has built up. And it's more subtle than that, but that's the simplest way to explain. Welcome to Badass Unicorns, Dippity Doo. Also, I love your name. That's so cute. Also, your dog is adorable. Okay, I want to boop the nose. Boop. I'm literally bouncing in my chair. You guys, it's not good. I probably shouldn't even be drinking coffee right now. Anyway. No, Peggy says. Okay. This is making sense. So this is why this card freaks us out. Most of the time, we don't see the tower coming. However, I will argue that many times we see the tower coming, but we don't want to look. I did a reading for a friend a long time ago, and it's really memorable because the tower came up in the future position of a Celtic cross spread. And I said to this friend, because it was incredibly clear, it was a relationship kind of reading, and I said, you've built up all of these walls around yourself and they're getting in the way of your relationship. Those walls are creating all of these problems, and you need to start taking them down brick by brick yourself. And if you don't, it's going to come crumbling down anyways, and it's not going to be a good time. So you need to be a part of this process and actively start tearing down those stones so that they don't get blasted apart and wreak havoc in your life. I mean, that was the reading at the time. Like, you have got these walls, you've got to deal with it because the ramifications of keeping them up are so great that if you don't deal with it, it's going to implode and it's going to be not great. Okay. Here's the thing. So Rick C says, my friend got the Tower card when discussing his nervous system issues. I don't know how to interpret that. Any ideas, y'all? I will point out, you've probably heard this before. I wouldn't be interpreting the tarot for specifically physical questions, because the tarot is not designed to answer those kinds of questions, right? But I will say, if I was trying to help somebody who was going through this problem and was feeling really, it's a very boopable snoot. It is indeed. I just booped my own nose when I said that. I am such a dork. Anyways, I'm drooling on myself too. So basically, if I was reading for somebody and they'd said, I'm going through this nervous system issue. Let me go back to the question here for a second. I'm going through this nervous system issue. I did a tarot reading for myself. I got the Tower. I would find out, first of all, what position was. If this was the only card drawn, then I would say that very likely his ideas about what's going on with him are probably going to be blown up a little bit. Like maybe he has one assumption of what's going on, and he's going to find out that his assumptions were wrong. His assumptions were going to be bursted or torn down. And that's the thing that you're going to have to look at is what idea, what thought process, what's going to be broken down, right? Like what's going to be torn down, what idea, what way of looking at the situation, that sort of thing. Okay, so let's do a quick comparison to get back on track here, specifically with the death versus the Tower question in the first place. So when we're looking at these two things, so death is an ending's coming that you're going to have to deal with. The Tower is an ending's coming that you're going to have to deal with. But very specifically, the Tower is an unmaking of something. So death could be something as simple as, I want to take it into like an everyday term. So maybe not so everyday. Your car dies, not fixable. That's death. The Tower could be, these could both apply in either situation. I'm trying to figure out a really good defining difference because there's subtlety, but there's also, okay, here it is. Death is blameless. This is going to sound really bad. Bear with me. Death is like natural evolution of stuff. Oftentimes things have reached their natural conclusion. They're less often going to be the kind of thing that is coming before its time. So oftentimes when death comes, it's because it's already been clear for a while that something needs to end. Like there's a really natural progression that's happening here. It's a lot more easeful in that way. Tower is sudden, unexpected, disruptive. Something could be on the process of being grown and it gets torn down. There's a lot more disruption to the Tower. I mean, you're going to be disrupted by death too. Let's not mince words. You know what I mean? Let's show, for the sake of the example, let's show the death and Tower in the Anna Kay. Did I literally put death away? That was silly. Why did I put death away? Okay. So we showed death already. This dude. Right? He's kind of holding you by the hand. It's gentler, believe it or not, like a lot gentler. Whereas in the Tower, where's our Tower card? The lightning bolt has come. It's broken it apart. And in the Tower, there's a specific call to rebuild things in a new way, to do it differently, this didn't work. Do not try to do this again, right? Do it different. Yeah, you got here just in time for the Tower. You've also missed the 18,000 times I've been talking about how my coffee is staying hot. That's like definitely my new hobby. Okay, I hope that cleared it up. And please feel free to share. There's a lot more to this than meets the eye. So, oh, Peggy's working. Okay.
Yeah.
She sounds so happy about it.
Yeah.
Okay. So let me grab the next question. And hide that one. Hide. Oh, no, we're not doing that. That's a mental note for me. We're going to go back up to the top. So Rebecca asked, can we talk about if anything changes to the card's energy when strength and justice are switched? My opinion, no. You can look at the numerology. So if you're real big, I don't use the numerology as much with the higher numbered cards. Once we get over 10, I stop kind of really looking at that the same way. Yes. Oh, excellent clarification. Sorry, I'm going to hop around a little bit for a second. Van Eyre, this is a perfect comment. Between the death and the Tower you could have avoided. Yes. A lot of times the Tower is hubris, right? We've been overconfident. We've built something up or we've built something up that has been built up in not the best way. There's a reason it gets struck down, right? It gets struck down because it's not good. So you can prevent it. You can you can choose to tear it down yourself, which is a much better feeling than waiting for it to get torn down for you. You can choose to revamp it. You can remodel. You know what I mean? You can do stuff to prevent this event. This you can't prevent. That's an excellent, excellent clarifying point. I completely agree. Yes, completely agree. Sorry, that was really good. I had to highlight that. Okay, back to Rebecca's question. Can we talk about if anything changes the cards in Strength and Justice or switched? So the reason Rebecca mentions this, and it's actually true in this deck, in the Thoth and the Golden Dawn, wait, I don't want to misspeak here. In the Rider-Waite-Smith Tarot, the Strength card is in position 8 in the Major Arcana, so it's numbered 8. And in the Thoth system, and Marseille, somebody help me. I can't remember if Marseille is 8 or, anyways. In the Anna K, Justice is in position 8 and Strength is in position 11. So it's a numbering thing. And there are very specific reasons astrologically why they get switched. And I'm probably not the best person to describe it because I'm still kind of learning about the astrology associations in, say, the Thoth Tarot and kind of getting why they're in different positions. You can also look at Kabbalah and the Tree of Life and kind of look at it that way too. There's a few different ways you can dig into this question. In how I read it, I don't factor it in. I don't factor it in at all currently. As I continue to study the astrological associations of the tarot, it may end up coming into play, but to date, it hasn't. Even with my reading of the Thoth, it still comes up kind of the same to me. Plus, in the Thoth Tarot, the Strength card is actually the Lust card, which has a very different vibe than the Strength card. So there's that too. So yeah, Marseille typically has Justice at 8 and Strength at 11. Yeah, I think it was the Rider-Waite-Smith that flipped the script on that one. I think they were the ones that decided to do it different. Why does that Justice card look so much like Q from Star Trek? Does it? Oh no. Oh, it does. That does look like Q. Hold on. Hello. Looks a little less like Q when you get it in focus though. Lots of blush. I love me some lots of blush. Okay, anyway. I'm wearing so much blush, but this computer like washes me out. You guys, I look like a clown in real life and I love it. Okay, anyway. Yeah, I thought it had more to do with the astrological signs. Yeah, that was my understanding as well. Okay. Next up, I would love to hear about any things you do before you read tarot. What is it you do to prepare yourself for readings, and does it change if you're reading for others, small rituals, etc.? That's a great question. My answer is going to be probably sort of unsatisfying. I don't have a whole lot of pre-reading rituals I feel like I need to do. Never to rarely, if I'm reading for people I know in real life. When I'm reading for clients, I have a very strong belief in containers. When I taught yoga classes, it was the same. Doing anything, I feel like containers or bookends are really a way to create safe space for me, for other people. So for me, when I'm teaching a class or I'm reading tarot cards for a client, I always do the same things to set up and the same things to take down. They're very simple. The other thing is that this is the unsatisfying part of my answer. I wait until it feels right. One of the reasons, besides the fact that I am insanely busy, that I have a long turnaround time for my client readings is because I have to wait for the day that I feel like I'm in the right headspace. Like, that's basically it. Like, I have to wait for the day that I feel like I'm in the right headspace. If I don't feel like I'm in the right headspace, I'm not going to do a client reading because I'm not going to be able to connect correctly. It's not going to feel right to me. And I don't want to just go through the motions. That wouldn't feel good. So I wait till it feels right and then I do it. And then the main things that I do to set up when I'm doing client readings, I pick a crystal to anchor that particular reading that suits the question. I will sometimes I'll choose a rune or I'll choose a sigil card to also help anchor the reading. I set out a candle. When I begin the reading on camera for my client, I cleanse the space with a little bit of smoke or an energy spray. I shuffle a particular way. I talk the client through what's on the table. And when I close a reading, I always close it by wishing my client, tell them that my wish is for the reading to serve their highest good. And I thank them and I wrap it up. And then when I'm done, I cleanse the space with a quick energy shaker, like a rattle, basically. And it helps me break up any energy before I do the next one. And I repeat the process again. So there's always the same beginning and there's always the same ending to any client reading I do. When I read for friends and family, it's way looser. Like, it's like, let's just throw down some cards and have some fun because I've already got a connection to that person, right?
Well, and if you're reading for me and it's like, nope, cards don't like you today, and it's no problem.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I can be very loosey-goosey when it's family. So yeah, for sure. Doop doop. Okay, we're going on. How's the sound for you guys? Let me know. Peggy's new machine might be louder. If it's a problem, we will wrap it up first.
This is, well, it's quiet for the kind of machine it is, but it can be loud.
Yeah, I thought I saw another question. I'm probably not going to get to everything. I'm sorry, guys. We're going to do a couple more, and then I'm probably going to wrap it up. So I have Jennifer Abe's question. This is a good question. What? Is it Abe? Oh, I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing your name. Peggy said it's Abe. I keep locking it and trying to open it instead of unlocking it and opening it. Welcome to Badass Unicorns, Cat. Cat reads tarot. Peggy and I are going to film our Badass chat probably later today. I love the sound, but I'm a quilter. If it overpowers anything, let us know. Otherwise, she's just going to carry on.
I've got a lot of prep happening too, so ideally it's not going to be too much sewing.
Okay. So reading positive cards in challenging positions and challenging cards in positive positions. This is so fun to me because this is great. So let's think of a challenging position. An obstacle is my favorite challenging position. It's the one I go to all the time. If you guys have another suggestion, let me know. Toadstool Tarot just said Peggy's on her motorcycle. I wish. I kind of wish and don't wish. I'd probably be a nervous wreck if she actually had a motorcycle.
Yeah,
I'd want to ride it.
She's weird, but
it'd be hot. I'd want to ride it, but like I don't want her actually on it. So like it's kind of a catch-22 there. So Ace of Pentacles is a positive card. For the most part, it's an opportunity, right? Is one of the ways I like to see this card. Very positive. Most of the aces to me are very positive because you're given something that you can mold, do something with, right? Oh, good. Sewing machine doesn't bother me. Okay, good. So you're given this opportunity. If this comes up as an obstacle, well, what happens? Okay, I'm going to hold it upside down because if we think of it as a reversal, that's I'm going to just hold it right side up. What am I doing? Anyway, I don't know what I'm doing. So let's say this card comes up as an obstacle. Well, then you ask yourself, how could an opportunity be an obstacle? Well, if you're cruising along and you're getting a whole lot of work done on a project, this happens to me all the damn time. I'm working on a book, for example, not right now, like hypothetically, I was working on a book. I have a new book idea, but those are separate. Okay. So I was working on a book and then I'd have an idea to like do a class or create a thing, do some art. New opportunities can actually throw you off course. So you can take a positive card and read it that way. Let's take something like the Tower, because we were just talking about it. What happens if you get a position like what will benefit you the most right now? And you get, that's your position, and you pull a freaking Tower. What will benefit me the most right now? And the first thing I would go to with something like this is you need to GTFO. You need to get out of a situation that is not good for you before the whole thing comes crumbling down. That will benefit you right now. The meaning of the card, the essential meaning of the card stays the same, but you just ask yourself the question, how could that thing be a good thing? If it's a challenging card in a good position. If it's a good card in a challenging position, it's how could this good thing be a bad thing? How could this good thing get in my way? Oh, Barb, you probably weren't on the chat. We did not always have a book emoji. We added that for book club, for Unicorn Fan Book Club. Yeah, I do have a book idea. I have like 3 book ideas. I have like 3 book ideas and course ideas. I'm trying to do one thing at a time. I'm going to try to get my intuitive reading course out this summer, and then I'm going to try to work on the book next. That's the goal. Hold me accountable, but that's the goal. So yeah, I hope that kind of makes sense. A lot of it is just asking yourself the question, okay, I've gotten this really good card. 9 of Cups is one of my favorite positive cards in the tarot, right? So I have an obstacle position and the 9 of Cups comes up, which for me is all about fulfillment and gratitude and joy and happiness. How is that a bad thing? If that comes up as an obstacle, it's like, oh, I might be looking at everything through this rose-colored glasses perspective, or maybe I'm only seeing the good and I'm not noticing the challenges. Maybe I'm only focusing on what's going right and I'm not noticing what I need to work on. Maybe in my relationship, I'm thinking everything's cruising along super great and I'm missing something and I need to ask a question, right? So you can totally twist it around. Yeah, am I being smug, says Marlene. Yeah, exactly. Oh, I'm so glad that was helpful. Yay. Okay, so I'm going to do, Oh, it's so hard to cut myself off. I'm going to do one more. I really want to do them all, you guys. I really do. But I'll do another session, I promise. And next week, what day is it? It's the 20th. So let me look at a calendar. Hold on. Next week on the 29th, I have another Learn to Read Tarot with Me video coming out where I'll be breaking down a spread. And I'll give you guys a heads up. I'm going to be breaking down the body, mind, soul, or like physical, mental, spiritual 3-card spread. And we're going to do a bunch of sample readings in that. I think I do 3 or 4 sample readings in that video. So that's coming out next week. That's my next like learny, teachy thing coming out. Okay, last question. Oh, this one we already answered, so that's good. And we already answered this one. So yeah, Jalen Sabini asked the same question. How do we read the darker side of more positive cards? So we covered that. It's great. And whoa, a bunch of these are questions we've already answered. This is great. Maybe I'm not missing as many as I thought. Six of Swords versus 8 of Cups. So we haven't answered this. This will be the one we'll close out on. And again, remember, you guys, even if we answer the question this time, if you come to another session, you can ask the same question again. There'll always be a slightly different answer because it's not like I script this stuff. So like sometimes different layers of things come out. So feel free to re-ask anything next time. Or if I didn't get to your question, feel free to ask it again next time. Oh, and I do want to answer Elf's question too. So I guess I'll do one more after this. I'm sorry, I'm a liar. I'm going to do one more. It's really hard for me to not, like, to turn this off. I have so much fun. Okay. And my coffee's still hot. Okay. Okay. So where is, I'm going to nope, I'm not going to unstar them because then I can, okay, it's fine. It's fine. We're good. 6 of Swords versus 8 of Cups. So let me grab the Rider-Waite-Smith real quick. This is good because these are both departure energies, which is why they get so confused and confusing. So I'm probably going to sound like a broken record, but the first step is to ask yourself about the element. So swords, mental, right? Cups, emotional. Mental, emotional. This is not to say, and let's think about this for a second because this gets confusing. Swords and cups overlap in several places because we think about things we feel and we feel about things that we think. You know what I mean? Like mind and emotion tends to be pretty melded together in a lot of ways for most of us. So remember that because that is one of the things that will help you in your readings. Just because it's a swords card, 3 of Swords causes a lot of debate because it's a very feely it's a very feely swords card. But we can think and learn from things we feel and experience emotionally. So the two concepts can merge and it's okay. It's all right. So in this particular one, in the 6 of Swords, and it helps to think about the history of the suit. So the 6 comes right after the 5. The 5 of Swords is usually a pretty unpleasant disruption to your mental space. Usually there's been some sort of situation where there's been a defeat experienced or a loss or something's been taken from you or you've taken something from somebody else. There's been some conflict in the 5. 5s are conflict kind of cards. So when you move from the 5 to the 6, this card feels to me a little bit like escape. So if you look at the water, this is very telling in the 6 of Swords. In the background, in this corner over here, the water is really ripply and we're moving away from this ripply water to this smooth water. So we're moving from conflict, from disruption, from difficulty to smoother, safer waters, but we're in transition from difficult to smoother. 6s to me represent a certain amount of harmony. There's a balance to the 6. We're moving out of disruption and into balance. That's a way to think about the 6 of Swords, okay? With the 8, now remember when we talked about the 8 of Pentacles and I said the 8 is extra stability. Things are really firm. We've kind of, 8s can actually indicate ruts as well as like being really well established. So like, for example, when we talked about the 8 of Pentacles, let me just bring this up because it matters. It's relevant. In the 8 of Pentacles, we talked about how we've learned our craft. Now we're refining it. Now we're perfecting it. But we're doing the same thing over and over again. We're very well established in this routine, right? 8s are structure and stability doubled down because 4s are structure. 4s are stability. Any structure that has 4 points to it with a roof is going to be a real stable structure, right? That makes sense. So 8s are very, very, very solid, unmoving, embedded, right? Now we look at the 8 of Cups and we see a figure walking away from this very neat stack of 8 cups, okay? The 8 cups are fine. They're solid. They're structured. This often indicates an emotional experience where we realize that no matter how solid this is, we've recognized that it's not serving us. There's something about this that is not right for us anymore. And no matter how much we've invested in perfecting it, it's not for us. And so we turn our back and we walk away. No matter how good this is or how built up or solid, it's been as perfected as it can be, but it's not good. You could very easily see somebody go from an 8 of Pentacles. Where did my 8 go again? You could very easily see somebody go from an 8 of Pentacles moment in this job, perfecting, doing it, and realizing it's no longer satisfying. And now they're suddenly in an 8 of Cups moment. They've transitioned, right? Here, they're doing the same thing over and over again, and it's good. It's good. But here's where they realize, oh, it's good, but it doesn't make me feel good anymore. So I need to go. That's what happens in the 8 of Cups. So with that in mind, and we'll look at the Anna Kay, because it will really help. Anna Kay is such a good deck. I've said it, but it's really good deck. It's a really good deck. I'm just going to put the cards. Oh, no. I'm going to drop them on the floor. I promise I'm wrapping up soon. I'm such a liar, though.
You what?
I said I promise I'm wrapping up soon, but I feel like I'm lying. I'm probably lying.
You can stay here all day. It keeps you out of my hair.
I know, but my voice is going, and I have 2 videos to film. Okay.
Oh.
Yeah. Okay, so here's our 6 of Swords in the Anna Kay. Here we have somebody on a boat. They've brought their swords with them, which there's a whole other layer to that, which we could get into, but I'm not going to do that today. So the water is rough, and the smooth water is just ahead. Do you see that? Rough water to smooth. Same symbology, different artwork, same idea, right? In the 8 of Cups, we have a very loving-looking family in the back, a couple. Maybe this is their child. All those cups neatly lined up. They have this established family structure. And this person in front is walking away. They're leaving. They've got their things on their back. No matter how safe and stable and structured that family environment is, this person's realized this isn't serving me anymore. I've got to go. I've got to go. That's the feeling of the 8 of Cups. I'm getting goosebumps, but it's true. It's a very much of I've got to go. It doesn't matter how good. It doesn't matter if anybody else thinks it's good. It's not good for me right now, and I have to go. That's what the 8 of Cups is. It's much more emotional. It's also often recognizing that you've poured a lot of energy into something and a lot of emotion into something. And no matter how much you fed it, no matter how much you tried to make it work, it just doesn't work anymore. And there you go, right? So both are often difficult, right? Leavings are just difficult. One of my favorite depictions of the 8 of Cups is from I think it's from the Everyday Enchantments Tarot by Poppy Palin. And it shows a woman walking away from a sink full of dirty dishes, as if she was in the middle of doing.
Who wants to do the dishes?
No, but it's like she was in the middle of doing her family's dishes and realized, oh, why am I here? And she left. And it's sad and it's hard. 8 of Cups cards are really intense, but it's very much like this moment when you recognize that something can be really, really good and it's still time to go. So there's time for a shift. And I want to be clear, it's not always a leaving card. Sometimes it's this isn't working, so I'm going to walk away from it. We're going to do something different. Yes. Southern Gothic Oracle. The 6 of Swords is a relief. The 8 of Cups is loss. Yeah, I would agree. I mean, there are definitely very empowering 8 of Cups moments. Sometimes the thing we're leaving behind is a whole pattern of behavior, much like this could be a pre-tower moment, right? Think of it that way. The 8 of Cups could be the moment when you realize you've built something up that's not good and you have to tear it down. You have to walk away. This is before it becomes a tower. If you stay in this situation, it's a tower. Does that make sense? So this is kind of a precursor to the tower in a way. Does that make sense? So is the Devil, but that's a whole other rabbit hole we could jump down, and I'm not going to do that to you because I'm not going to do it to me because I can't talk all day. I kind of want to, but I probably really shouldn't. Okay. There was one more question I said I wanted to answer, so I'm going to do that, and then we're going to wrap up. Yeah, this is the one that got asked that I want to answer. So this is from Elf. This may not be related to tarot reading, but how do you know you connect to a deck? I know it's time spent with the deck and other things, but is there an energetic feeling one should feel? I'm about to be a bit of a brat, but I'm going to start by saying there's nothing you should or should not experience with tarot. Shoulds bother me. They're like it's a nitpicky wording thing. So I'm going to just be a brat and address the wording thing and just say there is no shoulds. That's just a thing, I feel. But with that said, how do I tell when I'm connecting to a deck? If I pull cards for myself and I'm enjoying myself, that's the one thing I look for. Am I excited to reach for this particular deck? Does it teach me something? This is my favorite thing. I want every new deck to teach me something. I want every new deck I bring home to make me look at the card a little differently. And not everyone is going to do that, but I want it to be different, to differentiate itself in some way, because I have so many, especially. I want it to differentiate itself in some way that feels like it's adding to my life. So there's that. I want to feel like I'm not struggling to understand it. So, like, for example, a deck like the NK is always going to be a deck I'm bonded to in some way, because I've never struggled to understand this deck, ever. It just lands for me. And the kind of visual language that will connect with you is going to be different person to person. So if you're looking at visuals, and this is something else I'll point out, not everybody does. Some people, a 6 of swords is a 6 of swords is a 6 of swords, and it doesn't matter if it's this picture or a different picture or no picture at all. It's just the 6 of swords. And that's a valid, common, normal way to read. There's nothing wrong with that.
And you said you want to be comfortable, like you can use it right away. Other people want to feel challenged.
Exactly. Yeah. So the
things that make a deck a good fit for you might be exactly what makes it a bad fit for somebody
bingo.
else.
Yeah. So to me, those are the things I look to feel. I want to feel like it excites me, that it teaches me something, that it gives me something to chew on. Or that it's got an aesthetic that's just really adorable or pretty or something. So I'm going to want to reach for it. There's so many different things. But for me, I feel connected to a deck when I feel like I can pull it out and read with it and I'm not struggling. To me, that feels really good. Like, okay, the Marielle Tarot is is a deck that I appreciate and love and I learn from, but it doesn't feel like a deck I'm bonded to. Does that make sense? Like, I'm attached to it because it's cool and I like it, but it's not what I'm bonded to. I can't pull it out the same way I can pull out other decks and just throw cards and like be off the cuff. Not the same way. I'm getting there, but not the same way. So yeah. Shelly says 8 of Cups feels like a midlife crisis. Word, it totally can. It totally can. So yeah, I hope that kind of answers the question about how I can kind of tell if I'm bonded to a deck. But yeah, that's very personal. If you're interested in different ways you can bond with your decks, Danny Mystic has an excellent series on her channel, literally called something like How I Bond with My Decks. I think it's called something that straightforward. And she's got a bunch of really cool videos in there and a bunch of really cool exercises you can do, which can be great bonding exercises. Dawn Michelle of Boho Tarot also has some excellent resources and tips for bonding. She has a whole book. I think she just revamped it or she's getting ready to revamp it. And I can't remember the new name, but it's all about bonding with your deck and like kind of ways you can get close, like really deep dive into a particular deck. So there's a lot of things you can explore that can help you with that if you're struggling a little. And just don't force it. Like, sometimes it's also a season thing. Like, sometimes it's not the right time for you in that deck. So there's that too.
I think you just said the biggest thing. Don't force it.
Don't force it for sure.
If I find myself forcing it, then for me it's usually ends up. If I find myself forcing it, then for me it's usually a sign that that's a bad fit for me.
Totally agree. Yeah, I shouldn't have to force it. I don't want to have to force it.
I mean, if I'm in
I have too many damn decks to force it.
I mean, if I'm in the mood
Thank you, Barb.
the deck is still super. If I'm in the mood to be challenged and the deck is super challenging, and you're not feeling forced. Like, woo, this is exciting.
Yeah.
So.
Yes, I thought she just finished redoing it. Yeah, she gave me a little sneak peek. I just couldn't remember if it was actually published or not. So that's exciting. Yeah. Do you remember the new name? A link to that would be great if anybody wants to grab it. It's on her website. No pressure, Barb. Anybody who feels like grabbing it.
Poor Barb.
Poor Barb. Also, you are amazing. Barb, like, huge thank you to Barb. Barb is incredible. She spends an awful lot of time on my live streams because when I go live, I tend to be here for a while. And in the members only streams, they're even longer. So she is a real trooper. Thank you, Barb. And also she's never under any pressure to be here for all of them. But I just appreciate her an awful lot. So thank you. And now I'm going to continue putting the giant Rider-Waite Smith back in order because this is super handy for these videos. And Peggy doesn't use it, so she can just give it to me. It's fine.
Look at it. Excuse me?
Okay, it can still live in your room, but it will be effectively mine. Like, we know how this works.
It's effectively yours in my room.
It'll be effectively mine in your room, correct?
Yeah.
Thank you guys so much for joining me, and welcome to all the new Unicorn Fam members. It's really exciting to have you on board. We're going to be doing some badass stuff next week, so if you joined the badass tier, keep an eye out for our badass chat video rolling out on Wednesday-ish, and our self-worth Saturday is coming up this coming Saturday, so that'll be happening. If you guys have requests for things you want me to do in this space, if you have feedback, I'm always really open to hearing that. So please drop that in the comments down below. If you want another one of these, I might actually be able to tell you when the next one is planned. Hold on. I buried my book. I'll tell you when the next one of these troubleshooting the tarot live streams is penciled in. Could shift a little. Let's see. It's going to be next month. Hold on. Is it? Uh-oh. I might be full up next month. I think I'm full up next month, so we might not have one of these next month. We'll see. But I thought I had one. Nope. I can see why. I have so many things happening next month. So yeah, maybe not next month, but then probably it looks like I'll have one in May. So we'll have that. And I do the Learn to Read Tarot with me every month. So usually near the endish of the month. So you can keep an eye out for that. And I have a fun new tag I'm going to start in April that I'm really excited about. I think that's all I got. Yeah. And if you want to see me declutter some decks, that's happening this Tuesday. So prepare your heart if you don't like to see people let go of things, because yeah. She should have a link. Let me grab it actually. Hold on. It should be an Amazon link. She has a digital guide, but hold on. I'll find it. I'll find it. Hold for one sec. If you're interested in Dawn Michelle's book, I'll grab it because I know there is digital guides, blah, 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 books. Oh, coming in 2022. You're right. Oh, print books at Amazon. Will that take us to the old one? No. Okay, we have to wait. She might still be finishing up the print version. The digital version is out. The print version is not. And it's called Connecting with the Tarot. That's the one I'm thinking of. Linky. Here it is. Okay, here's the digital version. And I know she's working on a new print version. I think she did this one to be digital journaling friendly or something. I don't have a digital journal. I don't know how that works, but I think that's what the deal was there. Anyway, thank you guys so much for hanging out. I really appreciate you all more than you possibly know. This would not be any fun if y'all weren't here actually asking the questions.
Like, it helps the channel.
Yes, please do click the like button. It helps so much. So anytime you watch content you get value out of, smash that like button. It really helps. Subscribing helps. Turning on the notification bell helps. Comments help. All of that stuff helps the channel. It really does more than you realize to promote, support, all that good stuff. So thank you. And I'm trying to do more live streams and I'm trying to work that into the channel more. So keep an eye out. If this was a good day for you, that's great. So we will be doing this again. Thank you all. And I hope you have an amazing rest of your day. And
have a great day, guys.
As always, may your magic